Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles, California, the final day of the 1993 Major League Baseball season, and this matters. Matt Williams in the clubhouse. Guess what he's watching? The Atlanta Braves. For the San Francisco Giants, it comes down to this final day. The Atlanta Braves, Terry Pendleton, the veteran, coming through again today. That RBI base hit gave them a 2-0 lead. The Atlanta Braves still playing, and they lead the Colorado Rockies. Attention of a 1993 Western Division race still not ebbed. It is a sellout crowd at Dodger Stadium as the greatest rivalry in all of sports continues, the Giants and the Dodgers. There have been different cities, but there has not been a different intensity over the years. It has always mattered for these two teams. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. ESPN delighted to be part of this great game today, the 1,912th time the Giants play the Dodgers. Talk about intensity, Tommy Lasorda.
The rivalry was so thick, so intense.
We didn't like them, and they didn't like us.
Love all Angels, but hate all Giants.
The only thing in my mind at the time was to hit the ball hard, that's all. And the home run was the furthest thing from my mind.
It would not be the last time October 3 would matter. This time, a bases-loaded walk. Stan Williams to Jim Davenport. The Giants had beaten the Dodgers again. 1982, same date, Joe Morgan, a 3-run homer. One more time, Giants over the Dodgers. For those of you who may have missed it, it's October 3 again. That was Joe Morgan then. This is Joe Morgan now. He has been there. He's had the feelings. Joe, for the San Francisco Giants, what are their players feeling right now?
Well, the players are all nervous. You have to be nervous, but that's good. But you have to be able to channel that nervous energy into your performance today.
Let me tell you something. If you're 21 years old and you're starting the biggest game of the season for your ball club, how about the nerves, Solomon Torres?
Well, he's still too young to know about being nervous in this big game. But Dusty Baker tried to curb that last night. He took him out to dinner, took him to a Cuban restaurant, tried to get him relaxed. And when I went into the clubhouse today, he was as relaxed as I've ever seen him.
Now, the Atlanta game's still going on. We, of course, will keep you posted on that. But the outcome on that, if Atlanta wins it, then the Giants are playing to get to a playoff game tomorrow. If Atlanta loses, then, of course, the Giants are playing for the division title. What's the impact on how the Giants approach this game, depending on the Atlanta outcome?
Well, I think it makes a big difference, Gary. If the Atlanta Braves lose, I think the Giants have to play to win from the first pitch. Be aggressive. Let it all hang out. Just go out to win, score runs. If the Atlanta Braves win, then you have to make it a 9-inning ball game. You have to play it like it's going to be a 9-inning ball game and that you're not really playing to lose.
All right. Well, that's what's in front of us for this afternoon, so just settle back, relax, and let's see what happens in this 1993 season here at Dodger Stadium. It'll be a 90-plus day again, and a guy who played a number of games here in this kind of weather and others. He used to wear the Dodger uniform. Now he is the skipper, Dusty Baker, the San Francisco Giants. You see the numbers they have posted this season. A tremendous offensive attack led by Barry Bonds, and he is red hot right now. He's going to get back Robbie Thompson. September 24, that was the pitch that caught him and broke the cheekbone. He has not played since a week ago Friday. For the San Francisco Giants, he is in there. Their lineup, Darren Lewis leads it off in center field. Robbie Thompson's back at second base. He is red hot. Will Clark, first base, will bat third. Matt Williams, third base in the cleanup hole. Barry Bonds, the MVP, probably in left field. Dave Martinez in right field, left-handed hitter. Royce Clayton, the shortstop, will follow him. Kurt Manwaring, great arm behind the plate. And Solomon Torres, a 21-year-old rookie, will be starting. Kind of ironic as baseball's great theater continues. You've got this guy on the other side. This is an 11-year veteran of professional baseball at the major league level, and that is Kevin Gross.
Well, Kevin Gross is a guy that can pitch a great ball game. He pitched a no-hitter on the final day of the season a couple of years ago. He has a good fastball and a good slider, but his out pitch is really his curveball. But he can get a little erratic at time and be a little wild. So I think the Giants will have to be aggressive but patient.
The Atlanta Braves have defeated the Colorado Rockies and swept the entire 13-game series. There's the final score. Atlanta 5, Colorado 3. So the San Francisco Giants in this game now know they must win to force a playoff game tomorrow night in San Francisco against the Atlanta Braves.
I think that's a very good omen for the Giants. By that, I mean they know what they have to do now. Rather than start the ball game not knowing that the Braves are going to win or lose. If they start the game there in the 6th inning, they're continuing to watch the scoreboard. Now they know the job that is at hand, and they have to go get it done.
Joe, baseball, as I've said a billion times, is great theater. But how about this? The Los Angeles Dodgers with the opportunity to knock out the rival of all time, the Dodgers, against the Giants, and the Giants, if the Dodgers win, will have their season in.
Well, you have noted in the open how many times the Giants have knocked the Dodgers out of the playoffs, and that doesn't include 2 years ago when the Dodgers went to San Francisco the last 3 games with a chance to catch the Braves and couldn't get the job done. And you see Torres talking to Dusty Baker and Kurt Manwaring, and Tommy Lasorda getting his last-minute job done. So this is going to be a great ball game. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. How about defensively?
Well, defensively, you have Corey Snyder in right, Butler in center, Rodriguez in left. You have Hansen at third, Offerman's the shortstop, Jody Reeves at second, Eric Karros at first, Mike Piazza is behind the plate, and Kevin Gross on the mound.
Let's go. Giants and Dodgers one more time. What a summer day for baseball as Santa Ana's turned into Los Angeles, Southern California this week. Temperatures have been 95, 96 degrees. They're going to be over 90, mid-90s before we're through here in Los Angeles this afternoon. Darren Lewis, the center fielder, stands in. He'll draw Hansen in at third base. He can lay the ball down to get on. Kevin Gross, the 32-year-old right-hander, is ready to go to work against him, and the Dodgers-Giants 1,912th time are underway. Down to third. Hansen was there, makes the play. And Lewis has gone on one pitch. Let's get that update on the Braves from Gary Miller.
Gary, it just ended in Atlanta. Here's how it ended. In the 9th, Greg McMichael on in relief. Gerald Clark gets a bullet to left. Terry Pendleton with a huge leap to get the second out. Now it's up to McMichael against pinch hitter Darrell Boston with a 5-3 lead. He fans him. 2 strikeouts, 2 perfect innings. The Braves have forced the Giants to win. Back to you.
Well, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. 104 wins on the season. And they still don't know if they've won a division title. Can you imagine that? Robbie Thompson back in. You see the numbers that he has posted this season. A great offensive year. Obviously, you want him back in the lineup. He's got the protector on to protect that broken jaw, the cheekbone.
It's interesting that Robbie has taken 2 pitches, and I said the Giants have to be patient but aggressive. And Darren Lewis swung at the first pitch of the ball game and hit a weak topper to third base.
Yeah, not much sense in that one.
No.
Kevin Gross gets the strike on the outside corner. Gross has lost 2 games for the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Giants this year. He is 8-8 lifetime against San Francisco. There are the numbers in the 10 innings that he has worked against San Francisco thus far this season. 2-1 delivery, and Thompson takes it outside. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Gary, I think the most important thing for the Giants players today is not only to have confidence in their own ability, but the confidence in their teammates that they can get the job done, so you do not go to the plate trying to do everything by yourself. Work within the scope of the team.
Thompson got a fastball inside, fouled back. Piazza right there in the chute. Robbie Thompson's retired. Mike Piazza will tell you about his numbers, but what a magnificent season that kid has had this year, both offensively and defensively. Thompson back. And there's Will Clark. The cream always rises to the top. It's just a truism in life, and in the games, usually that happens as well, and Will Clark has done just that. It has not been an entirely strong season for him, despite those good numbers, but he has gone 18 for 36 in the last 9 games, batting at a .500 clip, and in this series against the Dodgers, Will Clark is 8 for 10. That's called getting it done.
Well, he's the reason that the Giants have won the last 2 ball games, because he's been on base for Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Will Clark might never have thought he was going to be a table setter, but that's kind of the way it works out when you get a guy like Bonds batting behind you in the lineup.
But that's the other reason I say it's important to get Robbie Thompson back in the lineup, because the first 2 hitters in the Giants lineup just have not hit well since he has been out of the lineup.
Kevin Gross has got the first 2 outs here in the first inning. Clark waiting, takes the fastball inside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, Clark has hit Kevin Gross pretty well over his career. He's hitting .327, 18 hits and 55 at bats. He also has 1 home run.
Kevin Gross, the age of 32, trying to get his record to .500. There you see the numbers Clark has had against Gross. Gross has won his last 3 games, last 3 starts. Outside with that one, 3 balls and 1 strike on Clark.
And this is what I meant by being patient. Robbie Thompson was patient. He got a 3-1 pitch. He just didn't hit it, but at least he got a pitch to hit. Will Clark has been patient. It is now 3-1, so he's going to get a pitch to hit. And that's what you have to do against Kevin Gross. He will nibble, nibble, nibble if you let him.
62 walks and 67 strikeouts is what Will Clark has done this season. And add another base on balls right there. 1 on, 2 down. 21-year-old Solomon Torres, who's going to be starting this game, just his 8th major league start. How'd you like to get a peek inside that mind right now?
Well, sometimes, Gary, a young guy doesn't have the same thoughts that we do. He's still a kid. He's still having fun. This is just fun for him.
He's got a chance then, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. This is fun for him. He's in the big leagues. He was at AAA. He could have been on his way home now.
Yeah,
and so he gets a chance to pitch. And when you're a young kid, you're not fazed by a lot of the things that we mature people clutter our minds with.
I wasn't going to quite phrase it that way, but if you insist. 2 down, runner on first, and the fastball away to Williams.
What does the psychologist say? No intrusive thoughts. Just keep the intrusive thoughts out of your mind and you'll get the job done.
I think I've passed maturity to the point of where there are no thoughts at all. Oh, what the word have been forgotten. Williams with yet another great season. 6 for 14 in this series against the Dodgers. Gross taking a look at first. Clark will not gain a big lead. And Williams fouls it straight back. 1 ball and 1 strike.
In yesterday's ballgame, Gary, Matt Williams made 2 very smart plays that really helped the Giants. In the first inning, he tried to bunt in this situation just to make sure that Barry Bonds would get to swing the bat. Later in the ballgame, Will Clark led off with a double. He hit a ground ball to the right side, moving the runner over, and then the Giants scored again. So he has been a very smart player the last week of just doing these things on his own.
Joe, what he's done with those numbers right there, he's kept the power that he's always had this season and added the average to it. I mean, he's just improved his lot. He's 3rd in home runs behind Bonds and Justice. 38. Gross will get him off the plate, bends him back a little bit. You do not want Matt Williams to get those arms extended. 2 balls and 1 strike. See the numbers that he's put up from 92 to 93, and you notice how the average just skyrocketed and the power has stayed right there. There's a tremendous increase in production for him. 110 RBIs. He's ranked 4th in RBIs as well. 2-1 the count. Williams to right. Pretty good wood, but not enough to get it out of the yard. Torrey Snyder moves over. Williams is retired. Will Clark, the walk is left on, and when we come back, Torres will be heaving it. Los Angeles Dodgers, they have split the season thus far with the Giants 6-6, just the way it should be for this deciding game. Starting lineup. Lasorda will have it look like this against the Giants. Brett Butler leads it off in center field. Jose Offerman, the shortstop switch hitter, batting second. At third base, Dave Hansen, left-handed hitter. His young star, Mike Piazza, batting cleanup. The rookie last year, Eric Karros, at first base. Left field, Henry Rodriguez, left-handed hitter, the start. Corey Snyder, the veteran, is in right. He'll bat seventh. Jody Reed, another veteran, good season at second base. And Kevin Gross batting ninth.
Well, Solomon Torres is on the mound. Solomon Torres has a fastball, curveball, slider, and a change. He throws real hard, but he is not a power pitcher. He can't overpower you. When he has gotten in trouble this year, it's because he has rushed himself and just gone exclusively with the fastball. He has to mix his changeups in and his curveballs to be effective.
For the Dodgers.
And Kurt Manwaring's the guy behind the plate that's going to have to make him work and use all of his pitches. Sometimes a young player, you just feel more comfortable letting the fastball go. But Solomon Torres is really not like that. He likes to use all of his pitches, but he just falls into a bad habit of throwing too many fastballs in a row.
Torres got off to a great start his rookie season. Won his first 2 games, but has 1-4 in his last 5. Let's see what the Dodgers do against him. They have not faced this 21-year-old right-hander ever. So Butler will lead it off. Talk about a table setter. He's done it again this season. And of course, you got to move in at third base. Williams has already done that. Clark creeps in at first because he'll lay it down. Brett Butler, as good as anybody, is getting infield hits.
You see the difference between Brett Butler and Darren Lewis already, don't you?
He took a pitch, didn't he, Joe?
Thank you.
Yeah.
In the biggest game of the season, I think you should take a pitch.
He leads the National League with 146 singles. Paul Molitor is his equivalent in the American League with most singles. 49 infield hits. That is an enormous number of infield hits. 26 of those via the bunt. Butler with a 2-0 delivery. If he can get the walk, he'll take it. Torres misses up high. And the kid's behind the veteran, 3-0.
Well, this will never be a good matchup for Torres because Butler will force him to throw at least 3 or 4 strikes every time he goes to the plate.
3-0, Butler will take. And he's on.
And the Giants will have, that's Dick Cole, the pitching coach, and behind Torres, defensively, the Giants will have Martinez in right, Lewis in center, Barry Bonds in left, Matt Williams in third, Clayton in short, Robbie Thompson's back in at second base, Will Clark, Manwaring behind the plate, and Solomon Torres on the mound.
Jose Offerman, a switch hitter, will stand in against the rookie, San Pedro de Macorís, in the Dominican Republic, which produces all those major league shortstops, is the home of Torres. He's only been in pro ball for 4 seasons. Isn't even a rostered player. A non-rostered prospect. He's got Butler on at first. And Offerman's going to make him throw a strike. He does. Gets ahead on the count, 0-1.
Butler has been on in the first inning in each of the 3 previous ball games, and every time they have tried a hit and run. They try to get the count in their favor and try a hit and run. He's been successful 1 out of 3. He lined into a double play once. He hit a single to center field yesterday.
Butler 8th in the league in stolen bases. He can run. Clark holds him in the bag. Butler will try and get Torres to throw over as often as possible. Butler also wants to do a little smoothing out the lead area.
Butler is really not a stolen base artist, as we call him, simply because he gets thrown out too much. He has been caught 19 times this year, and he has not been taking off as much in this series. Plus, Kurt Manwaring leads the National League in percentage of runners being thrown out trying to steal.
And Offerman lays it down. Torres looks at second, decides against it.
Smart play.
Sacrifice.
Take the out.
Take the out. Butler got a good jump. Torres looked down to second, but was going to make sure. So credit Offerman as he gets Butler down to second base with 1 away. Offerman this season, 25 sacrifice hits. Yowzer. That's a stack of sacrifices.
Well, when Butler gets on base as often as he does, and he doesn't steal as much anymore, you have to get him to second base some kind of way. So they bunt with him a lot.
Now the RBI opportunity for Dave Hansen. Hansen, one of the two question marks Tommy Lasorda had today prior to the game about who he was going to put in the lineup for this game. Question at third, and also the question in the outfield at left. Played by Robbie Thompson over to Will Clark. Hansen goes after the first pitch. Second out. Butler's on at third with 2 down. On every pitch, you talk about some churning in the inner sanctums of the body. Dusty Baker's going to age about 50 years today, win or lose.
As a manager, you sit on the bench, you're right, you're going to age more than the players. The players can do something about it. They feel like, hey, I'm in the ball game, and you just think and play the game. But when you have to sit around and watch, it can be very agonizing.
He knows Atlanta has won. Technically, right now, Atlanta leads San Francisco by a half game. Mike Piazza with Butler at third and 2 down, and the pitch is away. And we welcome the Atlanta Braves, their fans, and the Braves themselves, who are waiting right now at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta to see what happens, whether or not they've got to head west to play in the playoff game tomorrow night at San Francisco. And if that happens, you'll see it right here on ESPN tomorrow night. 2 down. Torres gets the outside corner.
Piazza is the guy that the Giants really would hate to face in this type of a situation. He leads the Dodgers with 108 runs batted in and also 33 home runs. And normally you pick a guy, say, I'm not going to let this guy beat me. And that's what you have to stick with. But they're going to try to get him out here in the first inning.
Look at those rookie numbers, will you? He's batting .324 with runners in scoring position. It's going to come down a couple of points right there. Martinez hauls it in. And Piazza is retired. So the 21-year-old rookie gets through the first. No score after 1. National League with 123 runs batted in. 7 of those came on Friday night in front of Bobby Thompson, who kidded Willie Mays about it.
I cut a needle Willie. I said, Willie, you know, I've never seen anything like this performance tonight. Willie, did you win as many games single-handedly as this guy has done this year? And of course I have. You know, I put my arm around him, and you know when I was saying it, but it's still the same old Willie Mays. What else would he say? But I don't see this guy, Barry, today, how anybody's ever done what he's done.
And I guess the only one who would argue with him about that is that guy, Willie Mays himself.
Well, I grew up in the Bay Area, and I've seen Willie do some of these things.
Yes, yes, indeed. Boy, that's some history right there. Peter McGowan on the right of your screen, next to the man who hit the shot heard around the world, Bobby Thompson. McGowan, owner of the Giants, who decided Barry Bonds was worth it. And right now, there's nobody arguing about whether or not he was or wasn't. There are the numbers for Bonds, and you see all the league-leading stats that he has put up. Takes on Kevin Gross, who he's had some trouble with. 250 in his career with a couple of home runs off Gross. Bonds has struggled against the Dodgers. He's gone 4 for 30 coming into the series, but in this series, 3 for 4, 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Fouls it off.
He had not driven in a run against the Dodgers the entire season until Friday night when he hit the 2 home runs and the double to drive in 7 runs. The Dodgers have pitched him about as well as you can pitch a hitter. They have not made any mistakes against him the entire season.
There are the numbers he has against Kevin Gross. Bonds is probably going to win the RBI crown. He was 4 ahead of Justice coming into the day. No, David had 1 RBI today on the home run. 0-2 delivery to him. Check swing. He went. First strikeout for Gross.
I said at the beginning he will throw the slider and the fastball to set up the curveball. And with 2 strikes, he throws Bonds a curveball that breaks down and out of the strike zone. Barry tries to hold up, but just too late.
And got tagged on the putout. So Bonds is retired, 1 away here in the 2nd inning of a scoreless game.
Reading Bonds' lips there, he said that was so slow. He said he's throwing slow, not throwing anything.
Still got a hitter.
That's what Kevin Gross has said. Hey, I got you.
Dave Martinez. Numbers for Martinez on the season, making the start in right field in this game for the San Francisco Giants. 103 wins, 58 losses. They have won their last 3. They got back into this Western Division race, winning 14 of their last 16 games. A roller coaster ending to this season that Atlanta and San Francisco put on, and then over the last week and a half, and they have just battled each other night after night. Gross with a 1-1 count and 1 down. Fastball's there, 1-2.
Gary, it's unfortunate that there has to be a loser in the Western Division because both of these teams have shown a lot of character and played very well. The Braves coming from 10 back, and then the Giants, after losing that lead, falling 3 back and to come back to tie. So they've both shown a lot of character.
Amazing stuff. Gross misses outside, 2-2. We're talking about David Justice, the RBI. Barry Bonds is going to win it. Justice had the 1 RBI in his home run today. David's got 40 home runs, but Bonds has got 46. He'll win that. He'll win the RBI crown as well. Not win the batting title, but he gave it a shot.
Well, I tell you what, let's wait on that, Gary, because if there's a tie, all those statistics do count.
Towards short, Offerman can't get it.
So if there's a tie and Justice drives in more runs than Barry tomorrow, he can't catch him in the RBI race.
Yep, you're right. When you take it into the game, 163.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
It will matter. Those statistics do count.
Well, this is what it's about. Atlanta won their game today over the Colorado Rockies, 5-3. San Francisco's got to win to force the playoff game tomorrow night in San Francisco. Atlanta's waiting back at Fulton County Stadium to see whether or not they make the trip. That game will be right here on ESPN. The playoff game, if there is one tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time for game 163 if necessary. 1 down. Martinez with a base hit on it first, and Royce Clayton takes the pitch for a strike.
Kevin Gross has a pretty good move to first base, but he does tuck a lot when he comes to the plate. So you do get an opportunity to run on him if you choose to do so, and we'll see if the Giants do try to run.
Martinez increasing his lead over there. 6 stolen bases for Dave Martinez this season, when caught 3 times. He's going, hit and runs on, perfectly executed. Base hit by Clayton. Martinez didn't realize it and stops at second base. A perfectly executed hit and run, but Martinez ends up at second instead of third.
Well, we see the first mistake of the ball game. If it's a hit and run, you should look in anyway about the time the ball is to arrive at the plate. Good job by Clayton. You see, he fights the ball off and hits it to right field, but Martinez has his head down. He's stealing this base. It's not a hit and run as far as Martinez is concerned, and he did not know where the ball was, and Corey Snyder has such a good arm. After he picks it up, no chance for Martinez to go to third. And that's the first mistake of the ball game for the Giants anyway.
Let's see how that plays out here. Manwaring with runners on at first and second, and 1 out. The catcher's 1 for 11 in his career against Gross. Scoreless game, 2 hits now for the Giants. Towards short, Offerman makes the flip, turnaround pivot, great play by Jody Reed. He got dumped and still got it off.
We talked about Offerman being erratic, but I tell you what, he will make some great plays. This is a great play. This ball should go into center field. He stretches out, great feed, great turn by Jody Reed. No score after 1.5.
The full house here at Dodger Stadium. This is the kind of baseball you get when the going gets tough. It's called Major League double play, Joe Moore.
This is a Major League double play. The catch was unbelievable. Now the feed, that's perfect. He was so close to Reed, he couldn't really throw it hard, so he gave him a perfect feed, and Reed turned it over at first base.
So, both pitchers work out of early inning jams. Giants leave 1 on in scoring position in that inning. Dodgers did the same in the first, with Butler was left stranded at third. Eric Karros, Rodriguez, and Snyder will be due up for the Dodgers against Torres. fouls it right straight down. How this all developed: on July 22nd, the San Francisco Giants were up by 10 games. On September 1, they were up by 3.5. By the time September 10 rolled around, the Atlanta Braves had come back to tie for first. On September 17, Dusty Baker's team was out 4 games. They had an 8-game losing streak, their longest of the season. On October 1, they had battled back to tie Atlanta, and they have stayed that way this weekend as these teams have continued to win, one on the East, one on the West, game after game, one watching the other, one watching the scoreboard, waiting to see. What a great finish. Coming back, man wearing puts it off the top and into the seats. And Karros has a 1-ball, 2-strike count on him. Dusty Baker, his ball club looked like they were going to run away with it. After the 8-game losing streak, the last 16 games, everything's up, especially the offensive numbers. That 14-2 mark to create this final game of the season that matters. 1-2 breaking ball, bounces away. Karros watching it go by. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Gary, Dusty Baker's the reason that this team was able to bounce back, plus the attitude of the Will Clarks, the Robbie Thompsons, the Matt Williams, and of course the Barry Bonds. But Dusty Baker never got down on his team during that 8-game losing streak. He never panicked. He said, "We'll be back."
They are.
And your team is basically an extension of the manager. If the manager panics, you're going to panic. If he does not panic, you usually have a tendency to maintain your cool. But this is the time of the year when the Braves are sitting in the clubhouse now saying, "We blew that game to the Mets when we were winning 2-0 with 2 outs in the ninth. If we'd have won that, we would have already won this thing." The Giants are sitting here saying, "We blew a game to the Marlins with about a month ago when we were up 2-0 in the 8th inning." So this is the time of the year you start to look back at games in April, May, June, July, and August, and you say, "Hey, we should have won that game."
You don't want to do a whole lot of that or you'll drive yourself crazy.
Well, I think the Braves are going to do it because they've got a couple of hours now to sit around and think about it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Karros waiting and again fights off Torres. Remains 3-2 to the leadoff batter here in the 2nd inning.
But even with saying all that, Gary, sorry, you still can't win very many more than 104 games.
Mercy, I mean,
the Braves have won 104 games.
This is going to be only the 8th time a team with 100+ wins finishes 2nd. He got him. High heat. Torres gets his first strikeout.
Batting 6, number 26.
Not a lot of applause at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium for that, but welcome. That's a live shot. We are delighted to have you with us here on ESPN. The fans of Fulton County Stadium hanging on. They've got their big screen working, so they are outside in the stands while their club is back in the clubhouse, all watching, waiting the outcome of this game to see whether or not there'll be that playoff game tomorrow. 1 down here, and Rodriguez takes the breaking ball down low. Torres with a strikeout and a walk thus far. Snyder will wait on deck. Henry Rodriguez. Left center field not deep. High sky. Lewis shading the eyes. Will get some help. Bonds came over from left. Not sure Lewis, the center fielder, had that. Bonds called him off when he realized it. 2 down.
Not only is Bonds a great offensive player, he's a great defensive player. He always seems to be there when Lewis needs some help, and he always takes a back seat when he doesn't need it. He's always there to back him up.
Two down, nobody on. Snyder, who's had only 1 hit in his last 15 at-bats. Veteran 1 for 4 yesterday, picking up that lone hit. 33 doubles, though, he's picked up this season. 132 starts this year. Not sure anybody, including Corey Snyder, thought he would be playing that much baseball during the 1993 season.
He's had so many at-bats, yet his home run production is down. He only has 10 home runs, and Corey Snyder, with 500 at-bats, usually will get you 20 home runs.
Good breaking ball down and away. A ball and 2 strikes on Snyder. Torres only .216 for the opposition against him in the 7 starts he's made. Left-handers hitting .154. 1-2. Snyder down to third. Williams along the line. That's a base hit, literally. Snyder's on right off the bag as Williams waited for it behind third base, and it never got there.
Batting 8.
Well, Matt Williams plays Corey Snyder so deep because he is a power hitter that he can't get to the ball before it does hit the bag. And once it hits the bag, of course, Snyder runs pretty well, so he's going to be able to beat it out.
So Corey Snyder on with the first hit for the Dodgers in the game.
Let's take a look at it now. Watch, it's right on the bag, bounces in the air, but Matt cannot do anything with it after that interlude.
So Snyder's on at first. Scoreless game in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Jody Reed, who has been red hot, finishing the season on a tear at the plate for Reed.
Jody Reed's a high fastball hitter. He hits the high pitch well, and what you have to do is concentrate on keeping the ball down.
328 over the last 23 games for Jody Reed. 318 for the months of September and October. 2 down here. Outfield shallow on him. Reed towards short. Clayton over. Force at second. Got him. Robbie Thompson coming across the bag. Royce Clayton got it to him. 1 hit, 1 left on. No score. No score here as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. Atlanta won their game today against the Colorado Rockies, sweeping the entire season series. So they have the half-game lead over San Francisco. If the Giants win here, it will force the playoff game tomorrow to be played in San Francisco. And you will see it right here on ESPN tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. John Smoltz 15 and 11. Billy Swift 22 and 8 are the scheduled starters for that playoff game tomorrow night, if there is one. A Giant win will force it. We are delighted here at ESPN to be able to bring it to you if it's necessary. Tomorrow night, right here. This season, the Atlanta Braves took the season series 7-6 against the Giants.
Leading off the 3rd
and
inning
also won
Giants.
4 of the 7 that were played in San Francisco.
Pitcher Solomon Torres.
Solomon Torres will lead it off. The pitcher, 21 years old, who came up and won his first 2 starts against Florida and St. Louis. The AAA baseball this season called up on August 24 when Trevor Wilson was placed on the disabled list, and he was immediately put into the rotation. Throws pitches to him up high for a ball.
The Giants tried to get another starting pitcher, namely Dennis Martinez, before the trading deadline expired, but everyone wanted Solomon Torres, and the Giants had decided they were not going to let him go. So that's one of the reasons that Dennis Martinez never made it to the Giants. This was before they asked waivers on him, and the Braves, of course, stopped him.
And before he shook hands with all his teammates in the dugout and said, "See ya, it was nice to have played here, and I'll be leaving," and then showed up the next day and was still playing. Dick Pohl, the pitching coach, one of the people he's working with, obviously. Solomon Torres, literally today. 2 balls, 1 strike. Torres, the big hack. 2-2.
Now, Dusty Baker will never get the credit that he deserves for the success of this ball club, simply because, you know, Barry Bonds has come over and everything has been great, and he's been, you know, just out of this world. But really, I think what he should get a lot of credit for is his selection of coaches.
Torres trying to lay it down, is struck out as he fouls it off in a 2-2 count.
Well, Dick Pohl is his pitching coach. This is basically the same pitching staff the Giants had last year, and they didn't do that well. Bobby Bonds brought this team from a team that was one of the lowest hitting teams in the National League last year to the best hitting team in the National League maybe this year. I know the Braves may argue that, but Bobby Bonds has really turned the hitting around here in San Francisco. Dick Pohl turned the pitching around. So Dusty Baker made 2 great choices in bringing these two coaches along with him.
Good point, Joe. And not a necessarily easy decision.
No.
You've got this mega superstar playing for you and his dad, a former mega superstar, coaching. And that's got potential for some real problems.
And I want to address that. A lot of people think that Bobby came because Barry came. That's not true. Dusty Baker wanted Bobby Bonds. And he also wanted Barry, too.
We won't ask if given the choice. 0-2 the count. One down, nobody on, no score. Even Tommy Lasorda, the other skipper, couldn't help but say, God, I love this guy. 0-2 pitch by Kevin Gross. Misses outside with it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lewis grounded out his first time up. He'll be followed by Robbie Thompson. A couple of hits picked up in the second inning. Off Kevin Gross. Got a big double play to get out of any problem there. Right off the end of the bat, the cue shot, Offerman. Two down.
Number 6.
Even though Offerman has made 37 errors, he still will make the great play for you. Most people will tell you they just want their shortstop to make the routine play. Offerman has trouble with the routine play. He makes a lot of great plays.
So he's not the first to fall into that category, is he? Some of the quick, great shortstops have trouble with the ball hit right at them. That one to right field by Thompson towards the gap, but Snyder's there. And Kevin Gross retires the side in order. Robbie Thompson 0 for 2. No score. Playing with the Atlanta Braves, he came to Los Angeles in '76 and played here for 8 seasons, including 3 World Series. Tommy Lasorda.
Here's what has happened. A guy who played for me, a guy who helped me taste the fruits of victory many times, Dusty Baker, hit home runs, helped me to manage in playoff games and World Series games. What am I going to do? Hold a vendetta against him? This is the guy that helped me.
Seat 17.
No, you got to like him.
Leading off the third inning.
See one of the reasons why he helped the Dodgers.
Pitcher Kevin
4 championship
Gross.
series, 3 World Series. Tommy Lasorda is skipper. Now trying to win a decisive game against him and knock the Giants out of a chance for a playoff game tomorrow and a shot at a division title. Kevin Gross leads it off. 3rd inning. Butler and Offerman will follow. 1 hit for the Dodgers, the single by Snyder. That's all they have had off the 21-year-old Solomon Torres, who evens the count up on Gross at 1-1. Joe, we were saying between innings here as it rolls along, the tension, the tension, the tension. Every out. Gross, base hit.
Well, as long as it remains scoreless, the tension starts to mount on the Giants, not the Dodgers. So the Giants are going to have to score pretty quickly, I would believe. Kevin Gross is hitting 200 starting the game, so it's a good average for a pitcher. A starting pitcher can hit 200. It's really like a regular player hitting 300.
13 hits on the season for him, including a couple of doubles for Kevin Gross. So he's on at first base, and now Butler, who reached with a walk in the first inning. Let's see how they play it here. In at third base is Williams. Will Clark holding the bag and charging. And he bunts it to third. Williams going to go to first. Clark got back to cover himself. No credit Butler with a sacrifice, his 14th of the year. He moves the pitcher, Kevin Gross, down to second base. 1 out. Butler's gotten it done. Now let's see whether or not Offerman can bring him home. It was Offerman who had to sacrifice his first time up to move Butler over. The outfield will not play deep on Offerman, and Gross at second base is not a speedy base runner. Just keep that in mind. There happens to be a base hit into the outfield here. Infield. Normal depth. Breaking ball in for a strike at the knees by Torres. Offerman down to first. Bill Clark will play it to the bag. Moves Gross over to third base, but Offerman is the second out of the inning.
And Dave Hansen has hurt the Giants as much as anyone, with the exception of Mike Piazza. He had a grand slam to beat them here, pinch hit grand slam off of Mike Jackson earlier in the season. And he just swings. He's a good hitter. He hits the ball well, and he's a left-handed hitter that gets the ball in play.
You're right about that, Joe. This season, Hansen 7 for 13 in the series against the Giants. There's what he's done with runners in scoring position. Enormous numbers for him. 2 home runs and 9 RBIs against the Giants. Hansen with an RBI chance. Good stop made by Manwaring on a ball down low. 2 down, runner at third base. Manwaring protecting it by getting the body in front of it. This is a dead heat day of summer for the catchers. 95 degrees with the equipment on. It'll feel like about 130.
I don't think Kurt Manwaring will feel it at all.
Doesn't even know the sun's out.
No.
1-0 count. Gross off third. Torres breaking ball outside. 2 balls, no strikes on Hansen. Remember, Torres has not pitched against this Los Angeles team before. So the Dodgers getting their first look at him. Gross edging off the bag. Inside corner, strike 2-1. Joe, we were talking about that before the game. How much of a difference does it make, and does it favor anybody, the fact that Torres has not pitched against Los Angeles before?
I don't think it favors Torres, to that extent, simply because he doesn't know the Dodger hitter. In his mind now is just to go out and throw strikes. It would favor him sometimes if he could get a better scouting report against the team than they could against him. But in this case, I really don't think it makes a lot of difference. I really don't.
3 balls and 1 strike on Hansen.
And that was a Torres 3-2-1 changeup, which is what I think he has to do in these types of situations.
Piazza waiting on deck. Not a man he wants to face with runners on. 3-1 the count, 2 down. Gross at third. Breaking ball off the glove. Base hit into center field. Gross scores. Dave Hansen has done it again. A 3-1 base hit. Live at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, the Braves fans joining with the Dodger fans as the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Well, they try to get the ball away. It's a fastball away. It's pulled up the middle. Robbie Thompson dives for it, but it's a base hit to center field. Not a lot that he could do, even if he makes a catch on this, because Hansen's a left-handed hitter that gets down the line pretty well.
Joe, Hansen's got 30 RBIs on the season, and 1/3 of them, 10, have come against the Giants.
Right.
And he does it with 2 down here in the 3rd inning. So Gross, the pitcher, led this inning off with a single, has come around to score. And a 1-0 lead for the Dodgers. Piazza flied out his first time up. He has an 11-game hit streak. Try and extend it to a dozen to close out the season for the Dodgers. He has been nothing short of phenomenal this year.
Especially on this team that the Dodgers have, and that is they're not really that much of an offensive threat other than he and Carroll.
1-0 delivery to him. Torres stays way away. 2 balls and no strikes. What are they thinking? At this point for them, it is a game.
Exactly. It's a 9-inning game. The Giants fell behind 4-0 on Friday night and came back.
2-0 to Piazza. Played with a breaking ball. Slider missing down low. 3 balls and no strikes. 2 down. Hansen on at first. Major decisions will be made, obviously, in this ball game about, do you make a move on the kid early? The slightest problem, do you hang with him? 3-0. Piazza taking 3-1.
Well, first of all, there's no hanging with anybody today. Normally a baseball player's mentality is if you don't do well today, we'll get them tomorrow. Well, you've run out of tomorrow. So today is win. There's nothing else involved. No personalities, nothing. You have to win.
3-1 count. Piazza is on. Torres gives up his second walk. 2 on and 2 down.
The moment you feel that Torres is losing control of this game, he has to go. I mean, you can't say, well, I'll give him 1 more hit or I'll give him 2 more or whatever. The moment you feel like he is losing control, you've got to pull him. So obviously they do not feel like he's losing control.
Gonna wait a minute here.
There's no one warming up in the Giants bullpen.
Just watching the game.
I must admit, I find that strange.
Yep, I do too.
In a game that has as much meaning as this, someone has to be throwing at all times if I'm the manager. Just get up and start throwing. I don't care who it is.
Everybody throw.
Yeah, everybody throw.
2 on, 2 down. 1 run in for the Dodgers. Drilled by Eric Karros, gap left center field. It's going to fall in. Making the turn, Hansen, he'll score. Over to third, Piazza. A stand-up double. Eric Karros. 2-0 Dodgers.
If there's one problem I found with the handling of Torres, he gets behind, he walks the guy, and all of a sudden they come with the first pitch fastball. Right there, and Karros finds the gap in left center field. Just because you walk Piazza, being careful with him doesn't mean you have to give the next hitter a fastball in the middle of the plate.
27 doubles for Eric Karros as he stands on second base. He has driven in 71 runs this season, and the bullpen is active now. The intentional pass is going to be surrendered here to Rodriguez as Sanderson will warm up in the pen. They walk Rodriguez with first base open, and Snyder waits on deck. A big rally here for the Dodgers as Tommy Lasorda's team got the leadoff single by Kevin Gross, and then with 2 down, Hansen an RBI single, the walk to Piazza, and Eric Karros delivering the RBI double. 2-0. There is ball 4. Third walk, first intentional off Solomon Torres, and Baker's on his way out.
Well, first of all, he has to give the guys in the bullpen time to warm up. Now no one is ready, so he's definitely not going to make a change at this time. So he just wanted to buy some time for himself and the pitchers in the bullpen.
We will keep reminding you that Atlanta, of course, won their game against Colorado, so the Giants must win to force the playoff game tomorrow night. If the Dodgers win this game, Atlanta wins the title for the 3rd consecutive season. If the Giants win, Atlanta comes to San Francisco for tomorrow night's playoff game.
Snyder.
Well, this is probably the key batter, maybe of this entire ball game right here. If Corey Snyder is able to plate 2 runs, it's going to make it very difficult for the Giants to come back. If Torres can get out of this jam with only 2 runs scoring, the Giants are still in pretty good shape.
Bases loaded, 2 down. The Dodgers leading 2-0. Torres to Snyder. Hits the outside corner strike. Piazza at third at the walk. Karros picked up the double. He's at second, and Rodriguez, the intentional pass, is at first. Snyder's 2 for 8 with the bases loaded this season. 5 RBIs when the sacks have been full. The rookie right-hander to him. Check swing. Wanted it checked, but he did not go around a ball and a strike. Jim Quick working the plate. Tom Hallion at first. Steve Ripley at second. Crawford is at third. Down. Torres has got the big out. But 2 runs in for the Dodgers. The Giants will have their chance with the big sticks coming up. For the Dodgers, 0-2-0 for the Giants as we go to the 4th inning. We want to remind you NFL primetime right here on ESPN tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Full hour of the most comprehensive highlights and analysis. Chris Berman, he is the NFL. Robin Roberts and Tom Jackson try and get a word in edgewise. Prime time. Chris is dying. He's a Giant fan. Days long gone by. Right now they trail. Torres got out of a jam, though, with the bases loaded.
Number 22, Will Clark.
Here's where the Giants want to come right back against Kevin Gross. Slow start, but he certainly turned it around. Just pushed numbers up there again among the offensive leaders in the National League. Kevin Gross, what he wants to do right here is really shut it down. His team has given him a 2-0 lead. He's got the middle of the order, the Giants. Clark drew the walk his first time up. Came at him. Giants have hit only .239 against Los Angeles this year. 4 home runs, 35 runs. The previous dozen games, which have been split 6-6.
Yeah, but coming into this series, they were 3-6, and they've added to their offensive production this series. So before that, they were very poor against the Dodgers.
Bonds will hit 3rd in the inning. 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Will Clark. One of the reasons why they pumped those numbers up. Clark, Williams, and Bonds, the first 2 games, Friday and Saturday, 16 for 24. 11 runs and 8 RBIs. 2-1 delivery, and that's the strike. 2-2.
That's a veteran pitch there by Kevin Gross with a 2-1 count. Will Clark sitting on the fastball. He threw him a curveball, and Will should have been sitting on the fastball because 2-1 count. You're leading off the inning. You know he doesn't want to walk you.
Clark trying to take it the other way on a pitch away from him. Fouls it off third base side. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
When you look at Will Clark's season, the thing you notice the most is his lack of power. And I personally believe, I've known Will for a long period of time, talked to him a lot. I believe that his power is down a lot because of injuries he's had to his knee, to his arms, to his elbow. He's had a lot of injuries this year, and he's ended up slapping the ball around instead of being aggressive.
Kevin Gross with a 2-2 takes it full. Well, so often sometimes we don't even know about him as far as broadcast is concerned with injuries, etc. But it affects the season so dramatically, and oftentimes you don't even hear about it until it's done, that a guy's really has played hurt.
Exactly. He's played hurt the entire season. I mean, that's what Will Clark has done.
See what he's done the other way to left. 358 rather than pulling it. Goes that way this time, but it's going to be in foul territory. Rodriguez trying to get there, can't. Hanson, the third baseman, down there as well. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Has his average gone up the other way because of the fact he's slapping the ball?
Yeah, because he's going the other way more now than before, and obviously there are holes over there that, you know, that are there because he basically has been a left center to all the way around to the right field line type of hitter. I mean, he will go to left field for a base hit occasionally, but now teams play him to left field. If you look out in the outfield now, they're shading him to left field. The left fielder's playing almost straightaway left, and Butler in center field's toward left center field. There you see the alignment they have. And in the past, the center fielder was on the right field side of second base.
3-2 again by Gross. He struck him out. Off-speed pitch. I mean, Gross isn't into the game. He gave it a little yes as he turned around to face center field.
Well, this is a big pitch for Kevin Gross. If he walks Will Clark, he's in trouble. But he throws the curveball, and he throws it for a strike. Now, Will Clark thought the ball was high, but, I mean, it's all a matter of opinion. That doesn't look high to me, but in the National League sometimes this year you don't know what is high. That looked like a very good pitch from Kevin Gross.
And he fooled him on the speed of it. Gross has 3 strikeouts and 1 walk. Williams flied out to right field his first time up. The Dodgers with a 2-0 lead, 2 runs in the 3rd inning. RBIs from Hansen and Karros. And Kevin Gross gets the strike. Gross has been hit pretty hard this season. 285 opposition batting average against him, and it's gone both ways. Lefties 282, right-handers 288. 0-1 pitch. Williams just slugs it out to right field. He's got the dying Quayle base hit. Snyder comes in to get it. Goes off the end of the bat so much the ball died before it ever got out there to Snyder. 1 on, 1 down. Here's why you got him.
Barry Bonds has had such a wonderful season that you can never count him out in a situation like this. If he has an opportunity to deal with this ball game, he will. I tell you that. Look at it. He leads the league with 123 runs batted in, but that's only half the story, because 43 times he's been intentionally walked, which took opportunities to drive in runs away from him, and he still leads the league in runs batted in. He's been an awesome figure. Plus, he walked 126 times, and a lot of those were intentional.
1 down, 1 on, 3 hits now for the Giants. Williams at first. Bonds to first. Great stop. Karros goes to short, off the bag. He held it. He had his foot on the bag. Jose Offerman.
And out comes Dusty Baker.
A big call at second base made by Steve Ripley, as Karros' throw was towards center field. But Ripley was in perfect position, watching the feet on the bag.
Let's take a look at it. Bonds hits the ball hard in the hole. Nice diving stop by Karros. Now he gets up, fires to second. His throw is high. It looks like Offerman held the bag, but you can't really tell. It looks like he holds the bag. I can't tell from there. Another look. I still do not want to make the call. And so we can't, in my opinion, you can't criticize the umpire, because I saw it 3 times and I still don't know whether he held the bag or not.
And Ripley was in perfect position.
Right.
He was right at the angle where he could see. Not a big argument by Dusty Baker, but one that's got to be made. Big play, 2 down.
I mean, it appeared that he did hold the bag, but you know, you can't tell just by the replay there.
Like he dragged his foot across the bag and came back down on the other side of it. Bonds is on at first. Dave Martinez with 2 down. Dodgers up 2-0. Bonds trying to build a pretty decent lead over there to do just that.
Well, Bonds has 29 stolen bases. He needs 1 more to join the 30-30 club again, which is, it's not as exclusive as it was before. A lot of players are doing it now, but it's still a milestone, and I'm sure he'd like to get that, but he also wants to get himself in the scoring position, because his team is 2 runs down.
That one missed down low. Ball 1 on Dave Martinez, who had a single his first time up. Only 1 left on thus far by the Giants. That came in that 2nd inning. The Dodgers, there are 2 runs in the 3rd to take the 2-0 lead. Dodgers into this game having lost 4 in a row. They try and end their season at 500. The Dodgers do. They are 80-81. Last year, finished 35 games out. They lost 99 games last year. The Dodgers have improved, but nowhere near enough in this division to be in it. Foul back, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gary, Bobby Bonds has the most 30-30 season. He had 5. Howard Johnson had the 2nd most. He has 3. And Barry Bonds has 2. Ronnie Gant, Willie Mays, both with 2. I'm not sure how Gant ended up this year. We know he hit 30 home runs or more, but he was short some stolen bases the last time I looked.
Sammy Sosa of the White Sox added to that group this season. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kevin Gross, full house here at Dodger Stadium. Bonds runs, grounded towards second. The run actually helped. Offerman had gone over to cover the bag with Bonds running, and the ball came right to him. Just stepped on the bag for the force play. beautiful day for the Dodgers, who have the 2-0 lead over the Giants. As we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning, these two great teams waiting for the outcome in the West, Atlanta and San Francisco, have put up enormous numbers in 25 years of division play. No two teams have ever won as many games. Those are the numbers since division play started.
And Gary, the unfortunate thing as far as I'm concerned is that if the Giants are able to win this ball game and they both end up with 104 wins after 162 games and to only have a 1-game playoff, to me that's that just doesn't make any sense. I know we've been in that mode since divisional play started, but I think it's unfair. We complain about the new format next year in the playoffs and all that. That's not as important as this. You play all season, you're tied, and then all of a sudden 1 game determines the winner. I mean, you might as well flip a coin.
Yeah, we were talking about that, Joe, this afternoon. I mean, you're literally right. As you made the point, on any given day, any major league team can beat any other major league team. So you get into a 1-game playoff, you are flipping it.
Yeah, that's basically what you're doing.
Jody Reed takes the pitch down low. Well, Stan Kasten, the president of Atlanta, I heard him last night speaking about that. And he said, hey, just think about how great it would be if we were already in next season's setup, where we would go into a playoff series with 2 teams having played this well all year long. Torres with a 3-0 pitch, and he walks Reed. The 4th walk, 1 intentional, and the leadoff man is on for the Dodgers here in the 4th inning. He has now walked 2 leadoff batters, and 3 of the 4 innings the Dodgers have had the leadoff man on base. That spells trouble.
Well, and I detected for the first time he wasn't throwing the ball then. He was aiming the ball to Jody Reed, just trying to throw a strike. No one's throwing in the bullpen.
Jody Reed will have to dive back in. Everybody looking for the bunt now. Dick Cole, the pitching coach, on the bullpen phone. They scurry. Trevor Wilson, the left-hander, at the top of the order. Butler, then Offerman, a switch hitter, due up. Gross, of course, looking to move the runner down here. So Torres trying to hold Reed as close as he can, knowing the bunt's coming. Williams way in at 3rd. Gross shows maybe a play at 2nd. Torres thought about it, gave it the 1-hop step, said no. Sacrifice picked up by Gross. Reed goes down to 2nd base with 1 away.
Center fielder.
Well, this decision is not supposed to be made by the pitcher. It's supposed to be made by the catcher. And when the ball is bunted out front to him now, the catcher can see the runner, so he should have been hollering either 1st base or 2nd base, and he probably was saying 1st base. So that is not really the decision that you're supposed to make as a pitcher.
Kurt Manwaring, of course, has the game in front of him in that situation, and he sees more of it than anyone on the field for the Giants. Now, leadoff batter Brett Butler. He has sacrificed and walked. Runner at 2nd base, Reed, in at the corners. Torres misses outside. In this situation, Butler could lay one down, and not just to move the runner up. He'd lay one down for the base hit and to move the runner up, both.
And Butler can bunt the ball just about any time he wants.
He's one of the few left, Joe, shows us some end of the bat. He chokes up just on every at-bat.
Yes, and he can deaden the ball down the 3rd baseline, so you, in effect, cannot play in close enough to keep him from bunting. If he wants to bunt, he can bunt.
1 ball, 1 strike. 21-year-old Solomon Torres, the starter for the Giants. 2 runs off him. Dodgers lead 2-0. Breaking ball misses inside. 2 balls and 1 strike on Butler. One of those walks intentional. The RBIs by Hansen on a single, and Eric Karros with a double. 2 balls, 1 strike on Brett Butler. He slashes it foul.
I don't think I've ever seen a left fielder play as close to the line as Barry Bonds does for Brett Butler, or any other hitter for that matter. He's covering foul territory as well. Big gap in left center field, almost straightaway left field, I should say. But look how close Barry Bonds is to the line.
2 more steps, you'll have to buy a ticket.
Yeah, but it looks like he's trying to cover foul territory as well.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Butler. Reed a lead at second. Torres, who had come inside on the last pitch, goes outside with that one and missed it. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Butler is so tough to pitch to. He has struck out 68 times, has drawn 85 walks. He is a clutch hitter. Torres. 6th time he's gone to a 3-ball count of some sort. This one's 3-2 to Butler. Ooh, missed it inside. 5 walks. Runners at first and second with 1 out.
Butler is difficult for most pitchers to pitch to, and especially a young pitcher, because when you try to move the raw ball around on him, it's just impossible to get him to swing at bad pitches. He just will not swing at a bad pitch. Most hitters would have swung at that on a 3-2 count.
He won't even swing at some pretty good pitches.
Yeah.
Wilson was up first. Steve Berber's joined him.
Yeah, Berber on the left, Wilson on the right.
Now Offerman stands in with the infield working at double play depth. Offerman in this ball game has had a sacrifice and grounded to first. Jose Offerman has hit into a dozen ground ball double plays. Torres wants one right now. 2 on, 1 out. Dodgers up 2-0. The Atlanta Braves waiting. They have won their ball game against the Colorado Rockies 5-3 in Atlanta. If the Dodgers win, the Western Division Championship goes to the Braves. If the Giants win, the playoff game tomorrow night in San Francisco. Jose Offerman, the 1-0.
Happened to Torres before, where he does walk a hitter or he gets a man on base and they go exclusively with the fastball, and then he falls behind because he overthrows the fastball, and then he has to come in with a fastball.
He's got to be careful on this pitch, Joe, doesn't he?
I still feel that, you know, he is not a power pitcher. He's a guy that has to throw the breaking balls and the changeups, and when he learns that, I think he'll be in better shape.
Words of encouragement, Dusty Baker, and where he's gone out to make sure. He went out to the mound to talk about it. Two-0 count. Not even close. Jody Reed led the inning off with a walk. Sacrificed to second, and Butler reached in another walk.
I think he is frustrated now, Gary. He was trying to make good pitches to Butler, and he was just missing. Now he's really kind of overthrowing and missing high. He hasn't been really close to offering. A certain amount of frustration will set in with young players as well.
3-0. All the way, taking that pitch. Torres gets it in.
Older players get frustrated too, but not as quickly.
Torres 10 walks in the previous 2 starts, 5 today, and 3 1/3 innings. One of those intentional. They've got him in trouble. Skipper waits and wonders how long. 3-1 he was taking. 3-2 and a 3-1 pitch 2 on. He put the bat on his shoulder.
In my opinion, this is probably Torres' last hitter no matter what. I don't think Dusty Baker will let him face Dave Hansen with the bases loaded or even in a run-scoring situation here.
3-1, 1 away. Runners with their leads at first and second. Runners go. Line drive, base hit, left field. Making the turn to score, Reed. A 3-0 Dodger lead. Jose Offerman. His 62nd run batted in. And Torres is done. off the end of the bat, and the 21-year-old rookie, Solomon Torres, leaves on this base hit to left field. Dodgers now have a 3-0 lead. Torres is gone, and Trevor Wilson on the mound for the Giants.
So Trevor Wilson was one of their starters this year, Gary, that went down with an injury. He went on a disabled list a couple of times, and he has been back about 3 weeks now, and he has been just, used in relief since that time. But he was one of their starters that did so well at the beginning of the season. Let's go back to, the situations that we have here today, and that is, Dusty leaving Torres out there in the situation and not having anyone warm up. Dusty has shown a lot of confidence in his players over the year, and, that works most of the time. You say, well, we'll just bounce back tomorrow. But we're past that point now. I think you're at the time where you do not want to panic during the season, and they didn't panic in the 8-game losing streak. But truthfully, you panic today. Today is panic time because there is no tomorrow. And I think you have to go ahead and you have to use all of your players. As they say, you fire all of your bullets. You don't want any left in the chamber when the game is over.
That's right. There's nowhere else to shoot them, right?
Yeah.
One down. Tim Wallach is the pinch hitter for Dave Hansen with 2 on and 1 away.
I'm also surprised that Tommy Lasorda is pinch hitting Tim Wallach for Dave Hansen. Dave Hansen is swinging the bat well for the Dodgers, and Wallach has not swung the bat well. Plus, Trevor Wilson's only going to be in there for this inning because he's the 3rd hitter this inning, and they're going to pinch hit for him, and you're going to lose Hansen's bat for the remainder of the game.
Runners go, hit and run on. Wallach to right field. Martinez has got a double play. Back to the second baseman, Thompson, on to Clark, and that will take care of the inning. So with Wallach up, they had the runners going. No chance for Offerman to get back to first. Dodgers up. For the Dodgers, it's been Hansen, Offerman, and Karros, the 3 RBIs to give them the 3-0 lead over the Giants. I want to remind you here on ESPN, the Vantage Championship Senior. And Wallach stays in at third base as he came on to pinch hit for Hansen, who had been there at third.
Gary, the Giants are very lucky that they're only 3 runs behind in this ballgame. I mean, they really are. The Dodgers have had numerous opportunities to put this game away. They had the bases loaded with a base hit would have done that. Last inning, they could have scored more than 1 run. So the Giants have to consider themselves lucky, and it's still a long way to go. So, and the one thing about the Giants in this situation, they will bounce back. If the Dodgers would have fallen behind early, I don't think they would have bounced back because there's really not that much for them to play for other than professional play.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you, Joe. This is far from over in a day where it's all or nothing for the Giants. 3-0 lead as we go to the top half of the 5th inning. Clayton, Manwaring, and the pitcher Trevor Wilson due up.
Well, Robbie's showing a little of that anxiety. He's not going to have any fingernails when it's
some iodine on the end of those. Kevin Gross gets the strike in. I'll tell you a guy who's going to make a difference in this game is the guy on the mound here. Yeah. This is a veteran pitcher. I mean, Kevin Gross just wants to win. And he's not going to be rattled here. I mean, not only because it doesn't matter to his ball club how this ends, but a lot of personal pride for him in this game. Base hit. Clayton is 2 for 2 as he leads off the 5th inning with a single. Royce Clayton is on, and that is the first leadoff man to reach base in an inning for the Giants.
Well, they have predicted stardom for Royce Clayton, and he hasn't been able to put it together in the past couple of years. This year he put it all together offensively and defensively, and he is going to be a star. He's going to be a big star in this league before it's over. I mean, he's driven in 70 runs from the 7th slot. That's showing you a lot.
And he's on at first base. Royce Clayton on and wearing up. Kevin Gross breaking ball on the inside corner. 4 hits for the Giants in the game. Manwaring checking with Wendell Kim at third. Gross waits for the batter to step back in. Gross trying to wrap up the season by winning his final 4 starts. His first win against the Giants this year. If he can get it, runner goes. Hit and run fouled off by Manwaring as Clayton was off on the pitch.
Well, we have a unique situation again, Gary. We have Trevor Wilson on deck and no one throwing in the bullpen. So that obviously means that Wilson will hit this situation. Well, I guess, again, it's only the 4th inning, well, top of the 5th.
It is the top of the 5th.
Yeah, well, like I said, maybe Dusty Baker has a different agenda, and he knows where he's going with this.
0-2 the count. Dodgers trying to end the Giants' season. Towards that hole. Jody Reed diving. It's going to be an infield base hit. Gross did not get over there in a hurry, and I'm not sure it would have made any difference anyway.
No, it would not have made any difference. That was a perfectly placed ground ball. And again, the Giants are getting some breaks here. And maybe this situation I can understand. Trevor Wilson hitting now to sacrifice the runners over. I can understand that. It's a nice attempt there again by Karros. He came up with the ball Barry Bonds hit. Jody Reed wisely does not try to throw the ball to first base. Manwaring clearly has Gross beat to first base.
Leadoff single by Clayton, followed up by Manwaring's base hit that didn't get out of the infield. And now Trevor Wilson. His job is to move the 2 base runners up. Nobody out in the 5th inning. 3-0 lead for the Dodgers. Tim Wallach, who just came on to play at third base, directing traffic out there.
Again, I can understand this scenario with him up. Hopefully he's going to sacrifice.
He has 7 sacrifices in the year. Pitch is framed by Piazza. Does not get the call. Ball 1. They were playing it straight up that time. The question is whether you put the wheel on here if you're the Dodgers. Do you let Wallach stay back at third and try and get a play on the lead runner?
I say you stay back and just take the out or make the play at third if you can. The one thing you do not want to do if you're in the lead is help the other team to catch up.
1-0. Outside corner strike. He was going to make Kevin Gross throw a strike. Boy, Joe Gross is getting off on that third base side as though they really want to go after that lead runner. He's coming over to protect that third baseline, and Wallach is trying to hang back. So if the ball's bunted down towards third, Gross will play it, and Wallach can go back to cover third base.
There's Pedro Martinez on the left and Steve Wilson on the right. The last person the Giants want to see is Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
1-1 the count. Runners with the leads. The bunt is played. Piazza, nobody covering at third. Finally gets Reed at first. Piazza wanted to go somewhere else with that because he had time, but Wallach had moved in too far at third base, and Offerman had not gone over to cover second.
Now, I'm not going to fault Wallach. I am going to fault Offerman. He has no place else to go. He should be at second base. But now Wallach has a decision to make, and Wallach's a veteran. He's not going to let a bunted ball fall safely without anybody getting it. When the ball is first bunted, now, Wallach doesn't know where that ball is. He just knows it's in the air. He doesn't know if it's going to come towards him or if it's right above the plate, which it was. So I can't fault him. He's got to make sure he gets an out. But Offerman's only play is to second base. I mean, he's supposed to go to second base. Again, the Giants get a break.
And he was ready to throw the ball down there.
Right.
He didn't want to throw it away into center field. So finally, Jody Reed was waiting at first base, and Piazza made the play over there. So the sacrifice, the 8th of the season, picked up by Wilson. A 3-0 Dodger lead, but the Giants now have 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Darren Lewis, who is 0 for 2, is grounded out twice. The infield stays back, except at third, where Wallach will play even with a bag. Out of the stretch, Gross. The fastball's up high for a ball.
The Giants do not have many key situations left, but this is a key situation. They have to score a run here. Preferably 2, of course, if you're the Giants, but they have to score a run. You cannot let him out of this situation without scoring a run.
Lewis batting .214 with runners in scoring position this year. 1-0 pitch. Fouled off. Karros the long chase, no play for him. Each team with 5 hits in the game now. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lewis. They're nail biting here, and they're nail biting in Atlanta. Clayton at third, Manwaring at second. Karros out of the stretch with the 1-1 to Lewis. Chopped to first base. Karros has got to go. Gross covering. A run in. RBI will be credited to Lewis as Royce Clayton crosses the plate with the first Giant run. And it is a 3-1 ball game.
That may not seem like a big deal for the Giants fans, but that is a big deal. First of all, when a pitcher is shutting you out, you have to show him that he is vulnerable to you scoring runs. Now the Giants have kind of cracked that armor that he has out there, and that kind of changes his confidence. And now if Robbie Thompson can get a 2-out base hit, we have a new ball game on.
That's right. 48 RBIs for Lewis. Manwaring's moved to third base, 2 down. Thompson getting back in for the first time in over a week, has popped out and flied to right field. A 286 hitter with 1 home run lifetime against Kevin Gross.
And this is where I said at the beginning that Robbie Thompson could make a difference, hitting at the top of the lineup, because Scarsoni has had 1 hit, which was a big hit, a home run, but he and Benjamin have not supplied any offense, and Robbie Thompson can do that.
9th best hitter in the league. 1-0 delivery to him by Gross to center field. Butler backing up. It's 395 to the wall out there, and that ball's not going to get there. Robbie Thompson, the fly ball out in the 5th inning, a run on a couple of hits with 1 left on. Giants are on the board, down by 2. Back here at Dodger Stadium, Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan with our special presentation on ESPN's Major League Baseball on this final day of the season. We will see the 3rd Giant pitcher.
Well, you expect to see a lot of pitchers today if you're the Giants, and especially since you were behind. Dave Burba, real good fastball. He has pitched very well for the Giants. Has a winning record, good fastball, real good slider. He has a 10-3 1-loss record, so he's done a very good job for the Giants. But he, like most of the Giants pitchers out of the bullpen, are a little tired right now. They've been pitching a lot the last week or so. In fact, pitching 4 and 5 days in a row.
Piazza will lead it off. Karros and Rodriguez here in the 5th inning for Los Angeles. The Dodgers leading 3-1. First ball hitting right field near the 370 mark. Martinez, goodbye, home run.
Simply because, you know, a lot of people didn't figure he even belonged in the big leagues. They thought he was only going to get a shot because he was a good friend of Tommy Lasorda's. But he has proven that he definitely belongs in the big leagues.
And he has set a Dodger record. Mike Piazza with his 34th home run, most home runs in a season by a Dodger, owned by a rookie, as he passes Steve Garvey and Pedro Guerrero with his 34th home run of the year. And a 4-1 lead for the Dodgers on the first pitch by Dave Burba.
Now he falls behind 3-0 to Eric Karros.
Karros takes it inside. He walked him on 4 pitches.
Piazza likes the ball out over the plate. And this fastball is out over the plate, and it's up. The ball is up and out over the plate, and he puts it up and out over the right field wall. You see Martinez gets back, gives it a try, but I don't believe he was close. He wasn't close to it. There's Tommy Lasorda. I think he knows he's on television today.
It didn't matter whether he was a relative or not on that hit.
Well, a lot of people said that he's the godfather of Piazza, but that's not true. It's his younger brother that Tommy is the godfather of.
Close enough.
Henry Rodriguez.
What a season for that kid. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Number one, you're a catcher. I mean, there's so much more to do as a rookie when you're catching behind the plate, and then to put the offensive numbers up.
It's very difficult for a catcher to come in and dominate in this league, simply because, as you mentioned, first and foremost, he has to be a catcher and handle the pitching staff. You get worn down catching every day as he has, and then to be a dominant hitter as well is a real plus.
Rodriguez outside of third base, behind the bag. Tough play. Williams glasses down. Clayton to help. Fair territory. Royce Clayton, the shortstop, got the better angle on that. So Rodriguez retired. One away here in the fifth. Caro still on at first. Main zone, Billy Swift. Talking with him before the game. Says, I don't know how I'm going to watch this game. He's the one who scheduled a pitch if there's a playoff game tomorrow. Says, I just pray the opportunity is going to be there. Right now, it isn't. The Dodgers have a 4-1 lead. 22-game winner. That ball, the gap to right center by Snyder. Chased down Luis Martinez. Goodbye, Corey Snyder. A 2-run homer. Giants. 11th home run of the season for Corey Snyder, who came into this game 1 for his last 15. "56 runs batted in, a 6-1 Dodger lead. Jody Reed. 6 runs on 7 hits. Verba's given up 2 home runs and a walk. Reed chases 1 ball, 1 strike. Verba's 6th appearance against the Dodgers. He had given up 4 runs on 7 hits in 8 innings this year against them. For the rest of the Giants,
well, they're still going to have to bounce back. They've bounced back this season. They got 1 more shot at bouncing back again in this final game.
Clark. That'll retire Reed. 2 down in the 5th.
Pitcher.
For Snyder, this is another high fastball up and out over the plate from Verba. About the same spot as Piazza's fastball, and both of them were out. And you see Verba looking up, and he's disappointed. And there's Lasorda out of the dugout leading the cheers again.
Hey, why not? Last game of the season, Dodgers Giants, 1,912th time that they've played. And the Dodgers right now are putting the big hurt on. 6-1. Solomon Torres, the starter, 3 1/3, 3 runs on 5 hits. Trevor Wilson got the double play against the man he faced, 0s over 2/3 of an inning. Verba on here in the 5th inning, already charged with 3 runs, a walk, and 2 home runs. As Piazza's picked up his 34th to extend his hit streak to 12. Snyder his 11th. 1 ball, 2 strike count on the man who's benefiting from this on the mound for the Dodgers, Kevin Gross. Dusty Baker's team must win to force the playoff game tomorrow against Atlanta. Win by the Dodgers, and Atlanta will have won their 3rd consecutive division title, equaling what Toronto has already done this season, and winning their 3rd consecutive. Gross takes the strike, but a big inning for the Los Angeles Dodgers as they get 3 runs on 2 hits, take a 6-1 lead. But again, for the Giants, the big pump in their order: Clark, Williams, and Bonds when we come back. Your stadium, Los Angeles up 6-1. Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan with you. Change in left field. Rodriguez is out. Mondesi is in. Oh, Mondesi will play in left. Joe was just telling me this kid can fly.
He can really run. He ran a ball down in the gap yesterday, Gary, that no one thought he would get a chance to get to that ball.
Here's what the big swingers have done thus far in the game against Kevin Gross.
Your attention, please.
Gross Gross has walked 1. He has struck out 3. For Burba, 2 home runs. In that last inning, he has now given up 14 home runs in 95 innings this season.
First baseman, Will Clark.
Well, the one thing the Giants have to think about here is you have 5 more at bats. You do not have to get them all back at once. You get 1 here, 2 there, 1 here, 2 there, and you're back in the ball game. You cannot go up and say we have to have a 5-run inning here in the 6th inning. You just have to make sure that you chip away.
Will Clark walked and struck out. 320 hitter on the road, 249 at home this year. Takes the strike on the outside corner from Kevin Gross. At least we forget all that this man has contributed thus far in this game for the Dodgers and I guess for the Atlanta Braves. 0-1 delivery, breaking ball, waited on it, leads it off with a single. Mondesi up with it, leadoff man on in the 6th for the Giants.
Well, that's a start for the Giants, and he's been doing that this entire weekend, getting on base almost every at bat. Will Clark, you can see it's a breaking ball by the spin. He just waits on it and lines it to left field. He's always had the ability to go to left field, but now he does it just more often simply because he doesn't pull the ball nearly as much. He's not as aggressive as he was before.
He's now 9 for 12 in this series. Clark's on at first base, 2nd inning in a row. The leadoff man has been on. It worked in the 5th as they got their first run against Kevin Gross. 6 hits for the Giants. Matt Williams single in the 4th. Takes the pitch down low, ball 1. Gross has worked with runners on this season, giving up more base hits than innings pitched, 218 to 193 coming into the game. He has also walked 74. He's used to working out of the stretch. 1-0 delivery. Piazza backhanding that one. 2 balls and no strikes, and the Giants, of course, need base runners.
And again, they do not need to panic because as I said earlier in the ballgame, you have to have confidence in your teammates to get the job done as well. So Matt Williams doesn't have to force anything here because Barry Bonds is on deck. If he gets a pitch, let it rip.
2-0 count on him. Towards right field. Snyder was playing very deep. The ball went right to him. Williams is retired, 1 away. Clark remains on at first base. When you're a great player, you get the great reactions one way or the other. He gets them. Has struck out and hit into a fielder's choice.
There are a lot of people who have a lot of different opinions about Barry Bonds, but I tell you what, he is a great player.
So you've had a chance to see him all season long covering the Giants, so you get a chance to see the inside and outside guy like Barry Bonds.
That hot slugging percentage going back to Stan Musial days.
That's some company, isn't it?
Heavy company.
1 down. Gross delivers to him. The fastball for a strike. He has hit over 300 every month, but 1 this year. Putting up the kind of numbers that make you think about, say, hey.
Not only is he a great player, but he's a smart player.
Oh, 2.
And I don't mean to slight anyone, but when you look at the most valuable player in the National League, you're looking at him right now standing in the batter's box. There are some great players in this league this year. David Justice, Ron Gant, Freddie McGriff, Lenny Dykstra. A lot of great players have had great years this year, but Barry Bonds is the most valuable player in this league.
Leader in on-base, slugging, RBIs, home runs, 4th in average. Throws it all the way to the screen. Making the turn, Will Clark. Piazza got back in a hurry. It's a long way back here at Dodger Stadium. As Kevin Gross ripped that one all the way back, no chance for anybody. Clark moves down to 2nd, so takes away the chance of that ground ball double play with 1 out. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Bonds.
And I want to also continue my reasoning that I think he is the most valuable player in this league. Not only does he do it with the bat, he does it on the bases, and he's the best defensive left fielder in this league. So he is just a great player. I mean, it's that simple. And I've always thought he was a good player when I watched him in Pittsburgh, but to see him play at the level he's played this year tells you that he is a great player.
1 ball, 2 strike count. He'll step out. The rap that's been taken more often than not, Joe, for the off-field things. Nobody can say anything about what he does in the field.
And I have nothing to do with that.
He doesn't like to be approached. He wants to be private. He wants to come, play, and leave. 1-2 delivery. Breaking ball. Nasty pitch. He strikes out Bonds. As fine a pitch as you'll see thrown.
And also one that you might want to question if you're the Giants dugout. The movement on this pitch. Let's watch the movement on this pitch. You might want to say, what was that?
Certainly you're not intimating it might have had a tear in the ball or a little extra on the top.
I'm only saying what was that. I usually can call a curveball, a slider, or a change from the booth. I can't call that pitch.
Kevin Gross is a veteran, I'll remind you.
Yeah, I can't. Let's take a look. You know, you can usually call the fastball curves and changes from here, but I can't call this pitch. That and Piazza can almost just barely can catch it. But he did the job. It's a good pitch. He got Bonds out.
He has struck Bonds out twice. Kevin Gross has 4 Ks in the game, and now there are 2 down. Martinez with a single in 2 at-bats has Clark on at second base. The Dodgers lead 6-1 in the top of the 6th inning at Dodger Stadium. The Giants 53 wins on the road this year, 53-27, tied with Atlanta for the most road wins in the major leagues. Trying to win 1 more on the road. First base, Karros. Martinez is retired. Leadoff single by Clark goes Fanaud. He is stranded. Kevin Gross continuing to write the story. A 6-1 Dodger lead.
In certain situations. And he knows his players more than I do. And I know he feels comfortable with Billy Swift if there was going to be a game tomorrow or if there is going to be a game.
Butler again fouls it off. Swift scheduled to go if there's a playoff game in San Francisco tomorrow night. Season ticket holders are given a chance to get their tickets yesterday and today until 5. Giant fans right now be acquiring tickets for a game that may or may not be played.
I don't think there's a real long line right about now, Gary.
You don't want to take a chance, though, Joe. You know that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Burba's delivery, and he went. Home plate umpire Jim Quick makes the call. And Butler, who won't do that very often, is retired on the strikeout. Burba's got 2 Ks.
This is a very important pitch for Butler because Butler's hitting 298, and you would like to hit 300. He goes too far, as you can see. And, I mean, from a personal standpoint, you always like to hit 300 if you get that close. And he came into the game hitting 298. He had no official at-bats until that point. So a base hit probably could have gotten him to 300.
Only the 69th time Butler has struck out, and Jose Offerman. Offerman picked up an RBI single in the 4th inning. Giants trailing here 6-1. Their only run came in the 5th on the RBI ground ball by Darren Lewis, which brought home Royce Clayton, who led the inning off with a single. Los Angeles has responded with Hansen's RBI, an RBI double by Eric Karros. Offerman, who picked up his RBI single and 2 home runs. Piazza's 34th leading off the 5th. And Corey Snyder is 11th, a 2-run homer in that 5th inning, both off Burba. For a 6-1 Dodger lead. Taken. Second walk given up by 27-year-old right-hander. And Offerman is on with 1 down in the 6th inning.
Tim Wallach, third base.
San Francisco Giants looking to do what hasn't been done against the Los Angeles Dodgers in a 4-game series by the Giants since 1923, and that's at Ebbets Field. Last time a Giants team has swept a Dodger team at home. There'll be a conference at the mound here as Tim Wallach comes on to hit. Dick Cole comes out to have a word with Verba. Don't forget, coming up next on ESPN, it'll be has been warming up and is ready in the bullpen. Tim Wallach has had one at bat, ended up hitting into a double play in the 4th inning when he came on to pinch hit. Or Dave Hansen has stayed in at third base. Verba misses inside to him. One down, runner on at first is Offerman. He'll hold him close to the bag. Only one out. San Francisco franchise that dates all the way back to 1883. The Dodger franchise all the way back to 1890. We told you at the top all the times these teams have met in games that matter in places like Ebbets Field and now Candlestick and Dodger Stadium. Verba with a 1-0 count. Wallach takes the breaking ball away. 2 balls, no strikes. San Francisco, 3 league championship series. They beat Chicago in '89, lost to St. Louis in '87, and Pittsburgh in '71. Trying to make it back to a league championship series for the 4th time. The Giants have been to 16 World Series in their storied history, winning 5 of them. The last time, 54, they had the Cleveland Indians. Took a great Cleveland team out. Delivery, foul back. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Wallach. Piazza waiting on deck for the Dodgers. More history to be written on yet another October 3. Bobby Thompson hit the home run. It was this date. Have brought all the good luck charms they can. He is here. Famous shot heard around the world.
Just to his right is Peter McGowan. That's his left, our right. That's Peter McGowan, managing general partner of the Giants.
October 3 has always been a Giants date. Of course, our own Joe Morgan. We showed you the home run he hit in 1982. Beating Los Angeles. Dusty Baker, the ironies of the games. 8 years with Los Angeles. Now trying to get that one big win. Send this season to a playoff tomorrow. And he walked him. Verba's struggling, Joe. He's really working at it.
Well, I think that's going to be all for him. There comes Dusty Baker out of the dugout.
3 walks given up by Verba, who came on in the last inning, was charged with 3 runs on 2 hits. He struck out Butler here, but has walked Offerman and Wallach. Piazza coming up, who had a home run in his last at-bat, will get another Giant pitcher.
275 with 15 home runs and 82 runs batted in his first season, and he was a part of the Big Red Machine, where he had a lot of help.
The only trouble Piazza's got is how the heck do you improve on this season?
That's a good.
I mean, this is, you can't do much more than this.
Truthfully, he and Barry Bonds are in that situation. What does Bonds do for an encore next year? 46 home runs, 123 runs batted in.
Offerman at second base, Tim Wallach at first. 1 out. 1 strike count. Jackson to Piazza inside. 1-1. Butler struck out to start it. Offerman picked up the walk off Verba, and so did Wallach. Verba walked 3, struck out 2. He gave up 2 hits in an inning and a third, but both of those were home runs, and he's responsible for the 2 on. Michael Jackson with a 1-1. Piazza reaching, and a pitch on the outside part of the plate. 1-2.
Let me give you one more. Roy Campanella, who was probably the greatest Dodger catcher ever. He hit 258, drove in 45 runs, and had 9 home runs in his rookie year. Usually, as we said, it takes catchers a little while before they find their stride. So Piazza, if he has another level to go to, I don't know what we're going to do for him.
I'm looking at the name on our sheet, Joe, that maybe that's the level he wants to go to.
Oh, okay, the Hall of Fame players. I mean, a 331 average.
Mickey Cochran fouled off.
Mickey Cochran hit 331, but he only had 6 home runs and 55 runs back then. I mean, to combine power and a batting average, no one has done that as a rookie. None of the catchers, we should say. We had Benito Santiago hit 300. He had 18 home runs and 79 runs back then. Thurman Munson hit 302, but only 6 homers and 53 runs back then.
Nobody, as a rookie catcher, has reached that 100 RBI mark in the names that we are mentioning there.
One other catcher the Atlanta Braves can identify with, Earl Williams. His rookie year, he hit 33 home runs and drove in 87 runs.
Now they're all going to try and catch this guy.
Yeah. He will be the new benchmark for catchers, rookie catchers to look for.
1 ball, 2 strike count. And Manwaring's going out to talk to Jackson. I was talking about catchers, Joe. I do have to say, because it's someone I've respected, and as a Red Sox fan growing up in New England my life, Carlton Fisk.
Yeah.
Kind of lost in the season. He got his games caught and then was released by the White Sox. Nobody picked him up. He's not returned to a ballpark since. That is a sad way for a great player to have to leave the game. And I don't blame. That's not a negative towards anybody.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, and I have a statement to make on that, as usual.
I love it. 1-2 delivery, foul back.
Gary, one of the reasons that I quit when I did, because I had a 2-year contract, I was supposed to play 1 more year. One of the reasons I walked away when I did is so I wouldn't have any distaste in my mind when I left the game. You play for 20+ years, everything has been great. You want to walk away with that same image. You do not want to hang around until something goes wrong and you have a dislike for the game. See, I still love to come to the ballpark. I still love this game, and I feel sorry for Carlton Fisk.
That one by Piazza to left field. Bonds got it. Shoestring catch off of blades of grass in left field. The outside denied, a base hit, and at least 1 more RBI.
Well, he's done that all year, but as I said, and the great thing about Barry Bonds, he does not have to be hitting to make these kind of plays. He has not hit well today, but he comes in and just takes a base hit away from Piazza. And here's a guy that has won 3 Gold Gloves, and he'll win another one this year because he has played so great in the field. So, and I keep saying great things about Barry Bonds, but I tell you what, he's had a great season. And again, I recognize the Dave Justices of the world, the Ron Gants, and the McGriffs, and the Dyksters, who have had great seasons, but I still have to give this guy what is his due.
Jackson trying to work his way out of this inning now in relief of Gerba. Gets the help from Bonds, now faces Karros, who has doubled in the 3rd inning, picking up an RBI, walked and scored in the 5th. Eric Karros takes the breaking ball for a strike. 0-2. 2 down. Dodgers leading 6-1. They've got 2 on here in the 6th. They've not been able to put anybody across in this inning. Well, I just hope Carlton Fisk gets the season off, comes back somewhere, because he's got a lot to give to baseball still, and he's a wonderful ambassador for the game. 0-2 delivery right off the fists. That'll end up in the seats outside the 3rd. Count remains no balls and 2 strikes. 6-1 Dodgers. San Francisco must win to force the playoff game tomorrow. Atlanta won their game today, 5-3 over the Colorado Rockies. They are still in Atlanta waiting, tickets in hand for their charter flight if it needs to be made.
Deciding where they're going to go with it.
Where are we going to go?
San Francisco or Philadelphia?
0-2 the count. Jackson with a breaking ball, almost. Karros thought about going after it, held off. 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. Boy, Dodger rookies over the last 2 years have put on some kind of show. With this kid at first base, Eric Karros, settling in this season at a great start, leveled off as the season went along. No reason to believe, though, that he won't punch some big numbers in the course of his career. Now, the rookie behind the plate, Piazza. 1-2 count, backing off Jackson. Runners off first and second, 2 down, the 1-2 delivery. Chopped towards short. Off the glove of Clayton. Took a bad hop, hanging the turn Offerman. He will score. 7-1 Dodgers.
Giants got some breaks in this game early. They did not capitalize on them. This is a break for the Dodgers. So finally, the breaks go against you after a while. And this Clayton, I'm not so sure he couldn't have played that ball, to be perfectly honest with you. It did take a bad hop, but as an infielder, you have to be anticipating the ball jumping at you. And I don't think he was doing that on that particular play. But again, I mean, the Giants had a lot of breaks in this ball game early.
Karros gets his second RBI of the day, 72 on the season. That should have been the third out. Instead, it's a base hit. 7-1. Runners at first and second still. And still 2 down. DC getting his first at bat. He came on as a defensive replacement. Delivery. Mondesi with a chance right here to have a sweet hit for the Dodgers. With 2 down, runners will be going. Wallach on at second base, the lead runner. Karros on at first. Fouls it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Lasorda put Mondesi in early in this ball game for defense. I mean, he came in the 6th inning just for defense. So no one can accuse Tommy Lasorda of not trying to win this ball game.
7 runs on 8 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 6 hits for the Giants. 5th pitcher for San Francisco, Jackson, with a 1-2 delivery, gets the strikeout. But the base hit has added another run on the bad hop. Burba, who came out in this inning. That's live. Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The chop shop is still open. For Dusty Baker, there will be a tomorrow only if his team can mount the biggest comeback they've had this season. They must win to force the playoff game tomorrow night. If there is one, we'll have it for you 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific from Candlestick Park in San Francisco tomorrow night if the Giants come back and win this game. The biggest deficit the Giants have come back from this season, 5 runs.
So that last run may have put it out of reach.
This guy has pitched a whale of a game. Kevin Gross, 12-13 on the season. Trying to win his 4th in a row. It's been a pitcher's game for him. He's not overpowering anybody. He's just mixed it up. He's kept the Giant bats off balance. Has walked only 1, so he hasn't hurt himself, and has struck out 4, including Bonds twice. Clayton leads it off. Piazza coming back looking for help at first from Karros. Didn't get it. Makes the catch himself. Can he fly? He really didn't want to play that ball, Joe. He felt as though he didn't get a good jump on it.
Well, in very few stadiums would he have had a play on this ball. He had to go a long way to get this ball. And usually the stands are closer than they are here at Dodger Stadium.
He looked over to first to see if Karros was close enough to help him out on it, and Karros wasn't. So I said, oh, what the heck. It's the last day. I'll do it myself. 1 down.
The Giants are trailing by 6 runs. And the first hitter in the 7th inning, they only have 9 outs left. The first hitter swings at the first pitch. There's got to be some logic somewhere, but it escapes me where it is.
I'm going to ask you the question one more time, Joe.
You can't hit a 6-run home.
Why doesn't the manager? Can't you stop these guys? Isn't there such a thing as a take sign in this game anymore?
Well, I think there should be, but I also realize that sometimes, I guess, in the heat of the moment, players forget that it is.
You can't forget.
Not
today.
6-1,
Not
right?
Today.
Not down 6-1.
Not today. You don't forget.
But we saw that from the opening pitch. We saw Darren Lewis swing at the first pitch of the ball game. Then he went to 3-1 on Robbie Thompson, and he walked Will Clark.
2 undelivered to Manwaring. And foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And then we saw the Dodgers just the opposite. Brett Butler took pitches and then got a walk. So just a different strokes for different folks, I guess. 80 pitches only for Kevin Gross. Very economical, too.
Very. And Waring at a single his last time up. Gross with 1 down, nobody on, center field. Butler drops the glasses down, backs up. 2 away in the 7th. A hazy late summer day at Dodger Stadium before their sellout crowd on their Fan Appreciation Day. It will be appreciated in Atlanta if it holds up. Reed will come on as the pinch hitter for Jackson, the pitcher.
I remember some of the comments the Braves made when they were chasing the Giants. They said, look, we're just going to win as many games as we can, and if the Giants are able to hold on, we'll tip our hats to them and go forward. I think the Giants have to look at it the same way. They have played well, they bounced back, and they fought all the way down. But the Braves just didn't let up, and I think that's the way you have to look at it. The Braves were willing to look at it that way, and I think the Giants have to be willing to look at it the same way.
Not done yet.
And I don't mean to sound their death knell, but it is very difficult to come back from 6 runs down when the game has so much meaning as this one does. It is very difficult.
And with Gross pitching as well as he is, and the bullpen, of course, just available if needed. Tommy Lasorda has had somebody warming up down there in case Kevin Gross needs any help along the way here. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Stepping out, Reed.
Pedro Martinez on the left and Tom Candiotti on the right. And I don't know if Tommy might be going to use Candiotti if he needs him today, too.
Won't need him here. Butler puts it away. Reed, the pinch hitter, retired, and Gross has retired the side in order. It's stretch time from L.A. Los Angeles, the crowd up for the 7th inning stretch, and for the San Francisco Giants, a precious few left.
Well, they have 6 outs left, Gary, and they're going to have to use them to the best of their ability. I remember the '75 World Series. We were down to the Boston Red Sox, and the greatest statement I ever heard, Sparky Anderson said, let's just make the best use of our 9 outs. If we don't get it done, we don't get it done, but use them wisely.
What a job Kevin Gross has done on them, allowing just the 1 run on 6 hits and the run scored on a ground ball out. So Michael Jackson, who is pinch hit for, is out of the ball game, and Scott Sanderson has come on in relief. This is going to be for the Giants their 5th of the game.
Corey Snyder, right field.
Corey Snyder's had himself a game to remember. A couple of hits, including in the 5th inning after a walk to Eric Karros, his 11th home run of the season.
It's another high fastball. Berber threw 2 high fastballs out over the plate to 2 high fastball out over the plate hitters, Corey Snyder and also Mike Piazza, and both they resulted in 3 runs. Snyder's being a 2-run homer. There's another high fastball out over the plate.
Living life dangerously. Berber charged with 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts in an inning and a third. He gave up the 2 home runs. The other 3 were charged to Solomon Torres, the starter. Jackson worked 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit, had 1 strikeout. Inside corner strike, Corey Snyder. 7 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, a run on 6 hits for the Giants. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Giants have had a lot of support here in this series, this 4-game series, from the fans. A lot of cheering for them. Today, it seems to have turned more to the Giants.
You know, it's unbelievable that when the Giants came here this week, they thought they were coming into a very hostile environment, sort of like what they go into when they go into Atlanta. But they found that there were a lot of Giants fans cheering for them here.
On the 3rd, Williams. Over to Clark. Snyder's retired, 1 away.
And it's not so much people from San Francisco that have come here, a lot of the Dodger fans found themselves rooting for the Giants because I guess they're the West Coast team. I don't know if that's the case or not, although we've talked about the rivalry so much, but I do believe the rivalry stems more from the fans in San Francisco's dislike for the fans up here in the Dodgers than for the Dodgers to San Francisco.
I don't think you'd have that same reaction if the series had been played in San Francisco and the tables were turned.
Exactly, right? No doubt about it.
One down here in the 7th, and Jody Reed, the number 8 hitter, he drew a walk in the 4th inning and scored. 0 for 2 officially at the plate today. 277 on the season for Jody Reed. Strike on the outside corner by Scott Sanderson. Reed coming over from the Red Sox. He's had a very successful season in a Dodger uniform. 1-1 delivery to him. Fouled, and that got Manwaring. Giant catcher got a piece of that one. We had noted how this final day of the season came to be so important. On September 1, San Francisco had a 3.5 game lead. In this century, only 10 teams have not won when they've had a 3.5 game or more lead on the 1st of September.
I don't think the Braves saw that number and cared about it.
They wouldn't have cared if they had seen it. That one by Reed to left field, but it stays up for Bonds. Hit hard. 2 down.
I'm sure if the Braves would have saw that statistic, they said, well, what do you want us to quit now or what?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure they would have. But again, you have to think about what this is really a very unique season, and it's going to come down as such, and it's going to be that way in the history of the game. But this was unique when you had 2 teams that were maybe the 2 best teams in baseball in the same division. Maybe. And I'm not sliding the Toronto Blue Jays or the White Sox or anyone else. That's why I put a question mark by it.
Their wins certainly are an enormous total. Dusty Baker's team at 103, and the Braves with their win today at 104. Kevin Gross. He has been the story for the Dodgers on the mound and helped himself out and his team out. That base hit he picked up in the 3rd inning. He was the first run to score in this game. Hansen drove him home with an RBI single in the 3rd. Breaking ball misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. San Francisco this season has been in first place 152 of the 181 days of baseball prior to today, either alone or tied. Today they started their 153rd day in first, and they finish in 2nd. Talking about teams that didn't win it and finished 2nd, the most wins. Look at that. They have 103, the San Francisco Giant team does.
Well, there will be another team on this list, whether it's the Giants or the Braves. One of them will be on that list also.
Somebody's going to join it. Nice job by Sanderson. He strikes out Gross, retires the side in order. Dodger Stadium, 7 done. Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan at Dodger Stadium for our special presentation of ESPN's Major League Baseball on this final day of the season. As soon as this game is completed, it'll be NFL prime time on ESPN. An hour's worth of highlights and analysis from the National Football League Sunday. Chris Berman, Robin Roberts, and Tom Jackson will have it for you coming up as soon as we have completed this game here in L.A. In Atlanta, they wait to celebrate. He waits. He'll get at least one more shot at it at the plate.
Well, now, Gary, the Giants have to try to score 6 runs. And I said around the 4th inning, you could try to nibble, get 1 here, 2 there, and get back in the ball game. That is no longer the case. They're running out of outs, and they're running out of options. The only option now is to put a big inning together.
0 for 3 with an RBI, and the ground ball out for Darren Lewis. Kevin Gross has gone the distance. A walk and 4 strikeouts. Pitch is taken down low for a ball. Gross 12 and 13 on the season. 0-2 this year against San Francisco. Joe mentioned he has worked very economically in this game. 1-0 pitch. To Lewis. Ground ball towards second. Jody Reed. 5 outs left for the Giants.
Robbie Thompson, second base.
And I will be surprised if he doesn't get one more shot to do something big, because this has, again, been a good season for him. And I just think that he will get one more chance to maybe get the Giants back in this ball game.
Clark's on deck. Thompson in the hole. Robbie Thompson standing in. 0 for 3 in the ball game. It's the strike. 286 lifetime hitter against Gross, but Gross has done the number against Robbie Thompson today. One ball, 1 strike count. The 8th inning, 1 out, 7-1 lead for the Dodgers.
And Kevin Gross has just been phenomenal. He has been in complete control of this ball game.
He has 2 complete games to his credit this season. Reaching for that one, fouls it off. A ball and 2 strikes.
And he is 12 and 13 as an individual, and he would like to finish at 500. So he had a lot going for himself too. He was, personal achievements which he wanted to reach.
Lost 8-5 to the Giants on May 7 at the Stick. Also in San Francisco, July 27. Lost a 3-2 game. This is his 3rd start against the Giants this year. He's 8-8 lifetime. Breaking ball. They got him. 5 strikeouts for Gross. 2 down in the 8th. For a big night in Atlanta of celebration. Gross has retired 8 straight, 11 of the last 12. Will Clark a single in the 6th inning. Also reached in a walk, fouls it off, strike 1. Billy Swift was saying to me before the game, he says, the last week it's as though we can't lose. We feel so strong when we go out there.
Right.
One of the reasons because this guy's bat's been so hot.
Well, that's true. I mean, the Giants have performed well. The Braves have just outperformed them. That's the bottom line.
0-1 delivery.
If the Giants would have lost 8 in a row and continued to slide, when the Braves took over first place, then you look back and say, well, maybe they didn't respond as they should. But they bounced back. And they got to the final game. I mean, that's all you can say.
Swift knows that barring the comeback, he's done for the season. Scheduled to pitch if there's a playoff game tomorrow night. 22 wins on the year.
And the Cy Young Award winner will probably come from the Atlanta Braves staff or from the Giants staff. Billy Swift, John Burkett, and of course the Atlanta Braves have several candidates off of their staff.
Correct myself, 21 wins for Swifty. Only 2 runs in his last 4 starts and desperately wants 1 more. 3 balls, 1 strike. 2 down, nobody on in the 8th. is a foul ball. Missing the extra base hit by a couple of feet.
You brought up a very good point. Earlier you said, the cream kind of rises to the top. And I guess the question is, will Will Clark still be with the Giants next year? Because payrolls being what they are today, the Giants have to try to sign Robbie Thompson, Matt Williams, Will Clark. Then you have Bill Swift, John Burkett, who all in for big raises. And you wonder how many they can actually keep on this ball club. That guy right there, Peter McGowan, will be making most of those decisions. He and the other investors of the ball club. Difficult decisions to make.
3-2 delivery by Gross. Center field. Backing up. 395 mark and hauled in. Brett Butler. Kevin Gross retires the side in order. He's set down the last 8. Dodger Stadium, the site. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Giants down to their final 3 outs. Must have the win to force the playoff game tomorrow. Los Angeles trying to end their season here today. Sanderson worked an inning, struck out 1, 2, 3, and Rags is on.
Well, you have to think about Dave Righetti's future with the Giants too, and this may be Dusty Baker's way of saying, giving him a chance to go out by pitching rather than any other way, because Righetti is one of the guys who will probably be on the bubble with the Giants next year. But he's always been a class guy and a good guy, and I think that's what Dusty's giving him a final chance to pitch here.
Top of the order for the Dodgers. Butler, Offerman, and Wallach go up against Righetti. First ball, base hit. Butler's on. So Brett Butler on 3 times in this game with 2 walks, a single, a sacrifice on another occasion. The only time they got him to strike out in the 6th.
And Brett Butler will probably end the season hitting .299. How close can you get?
We'll get Peter to figure that out for us over there. See whether or not he got there or not.
I can't see him getting there from .298 with a 1 for 2 this late in the season.
No. Jose Offerman. Offerman drew a walk and scored in the 6th inning, had an RBI single in the 4th.
And he will end up at .299 unless he gets another at bat.
That happens, we're really going to have a finish.
You're right.
Righetti with Butler on at first and building a big lead. He got him. Butler stepped way off over there. An extra step or step and a half. With Righetti looking right at him, he challenged him. So Righetti picked him off.
Well, Righetti does not have a good conventional move, so he steps off and fires to first, and nice tag there, quick tag by Will Clark. Hallian says you're out.
Well, that takes care of the leadoff single. 1 down, base is empty, and the strike taken. 0-1 the count, 1 away. Offerman fouling it off. Into the seats down the right field line. No balls, 2 strikes. Who would have thought at the start of this season the San Francisco Giants would even be challenging for first place? They won 72 games last year, finished 26 games out. They have won 103 this season.
That's what's difficult for a professional athlete, though, Gary. You don't look back and say, hey, we did a great job, we did more than we expected. All you're going to do is look back and say we finished second. That's the life of a professional athlete. You have to be able to accept that. Yeah, you're overachieved, but yet you didn't get the final victory. You didn't jump that final hurdle. But that's what a professional athlete is about. That separates the other guys from amateur sports.
Righetti with a 2-2 delivery.
Amateur sports is how you play the game. Professional sports is whether you win or lose.
Well, I'll agree with you about the playoff situation. I don't care who would have been playing in this situation. I would rather see this decided in the 162 game schedule.
And I agree.
3-2 up high, walked him. The whole idea of baseball has always been you play 162 games so that in the long haul you have proven you deserve to be there, number one.
Right. And you can't prove that, like you say, just if they would play tomorrow or if they still do play tomorrow, it still will not prove anything.
Righetti giving up the walk. That's the 9th walk given up by the Giant pitchers in this game. Their bullpen still active. The Giants came into this game with the 2nd fewest walks as a staff, but 9 surrendered against the Dodgers. Offerman on, Tim Wallach up, first ball hitting, base hit left field for Wallach. Bonds up with it, stopping at second base is Offerman. 2 on in the 8th inning. 1 away. 10 hits for the Dodgers, and boy, what a hand. Piazza, the rookie, the Dodger fans rising, and well, they should.
Well, the Dodgers will show their appreciation for the fans by giving away a lot of gifts. The fans here are showing their appreciation for the season that Mike Piazza has given them. And well deserved. I really, this is what baseball is all about.
A new Dodger home run record with 34 that he picked up in the 5th inning, leading it off. And yet his first season. He'll end the season with a 12-game hit streak. See whether or not he puts any more numbers up here. First and second occupied, 1 out. 7-1 lead for the Dodgers over the Giants. Swift charting, and it hurts to chart right now.
Yes.
You're not sure which mark you put down is going to be the last one. Righetti's 1-1. Right field. It is deep. Martinez back at the wall. He's done it again. Piazza's 2nd home run of the game. A 3-run shot.
Gary, they gave him a standing ovation before he hit that home run. What will they do to him now? Just a remarkable achievement by this young fella.
The nail in the coffin.
Gary, I think the nail was already there. That's some cement on top of it.
25-year-old Mike Piazza, a 3-run homer, 10-1. Dodgers lead the Giants 35 home runs, 2 in this game, and a 4 RBI game. Down the left field line, that is a fair ball. Bonds has it ricochet by him. Eric Karros on his way to second, makes the turn. Bonds makes the throw to third. Williams there, not in time. Eric Karros with a triple. Be it for Righetti. Mike Piazza with 2 on, 8th inning. His 35th home run of the season, 370 mark in right for Dusty Baker. Not one thing he can do about it for Righetti, the veteran. The last thing he wanted to happen. And for the Dodgers, the onus may be finally off as they may turn the big table on the Giants.
Yeah.
A 10-1 lead. Los Angeles over San Francisco in the 8th inning. Alex Karros is on at third base picking up the triple. Still only one down, and Jim Deshaies is on to pitch for the Giants.
Gary, the Giants lost to the Dodgers 15-1 July 26th.
Coming up as soon as this game is completed, the National Football League Day in review. It's NFL primetime. Coming up next, Chris Berman, Robin Roberts, Tom Jackson, and do they have stories? Quarterbacks hurt seriously. They'll fill you in on all the details. Next, NFL primetime. Big injuries. Infield drawn in deep left field. Bonds looks. Home run. 2-run shot. Mondesi's fourth, Joe.
Gary, sometimes if you lose the final game of the season 1-0 or 2-1, you agonize over it all winter. This takes all the doubt out of it. There will not be any looking back on one play, one swing, one at bat. This has been a total collapse by the Giants pitching staff and total dominance by the Dodgers.
12-1. Snyder takes the inside pitch from Deshaies. Mondesi gets his fourth home run of the season in the 13 games that he's played in. And the Dodger fans really up as Deshaies comes inside again. 2-0 on Snyder. In the 8th. 12-1, 12 runs on 13 hits. Getty will be charged with 4 of those here in this inning. The last one against Deshaies. Dusty Baker's season is coming to a close in a hurry. 3-1, he walked him. Snyder's on in the 8th. NFL primetime coming up next. Big day in the National Football League. All the scores and highlights and analysis. And as we told you, those quarterback injuries often decide seasons for teams are mounting up. Montana and Cunningham today. I'll show them to you. Detail what they might mean. For Piazza, he's going to have a long winter of smiling. Snyder's on at first base. Jody Reed, base hit to center field. And they batted around in the 8th inning. Ben Hines, first base coach, talking with Reed. Dick Cole will come out this time. Kevin Gross, the pitcher, is going to be coming up. He'll leave him in. Runners on at first and second, still but one out. Cleanup, I think, in the outfield here as Deshaies turns around. Lewis had come in from center field to talk to the second base umpire, Steve Ripley. I believe some things were being thrown at him. Home plate umpire Jim Quick now has gone over to Tommy Lasorda, asking, I'm sure, for an announcement to be made.
Jim Quick went over and made sure that Lasorda relayed the announcement up to the PA system to stop.
Foul back by Gross. Going to take that hit away from Jody Reed. Barnacle snuck in us there as a pinch hitter. He's on at first base instead of Reed. With one down, Kevin Gross helped himself out in this ball game a couple of times. 12-1, 14 hits for the Dodgers, 2 on, 1 away. Gross is trying to hit a home run as he fouls it back. He took a big uppercut on that one.
Well, he has certainly pitched well, so maybe deserves to take a couple of liberties here.
Going to be going after his 3rd complete game of the season when he goes back to the mound in the 9th inning against the Giants. Jim DeShays, 0-2 delivery to him. Reached for it. I think he missed it. He struck him out. Runners will move up. Gross just heads back. It'll be a strikeout for DeShays.
On the field or in the stands.
DeShays strikes out Gross, and there are 2 down.
And the rest.
2 down. Runners now on at 2nd and 3rd. Steiner moves over to 3rd base.
Butler.
Barnacle moves up to 2nd. And the leadoff batter who started all this, Brett Butler. He had a single to lead this inning off.
So he gets another chance. He's hitting .299.
That's right.
Maybe he will get that base hit to move him above 300.
If he gets a base hit, he'll be hitting .2998, which is made officially to 300 if he can get it. It's amazing how much those itty-bitty percentage points can matter when you're talking about a 300 season. There's a ring to it, isn't there?
300 is a lot higher than 299.
A lot, yeah. In the mind's eye, at least. This is down low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Butler. The Giants season, with only 3 outs left for them, probably end with 103 wins in 2nd place. 1-1 pitch. Center field. Lewis backs up on it, and that will retire Butler, and that takes care of the Dodgers, but they add 5 more in the 8th. 1 more chance. And Joe Morgan here in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers have a 12-1 lead, and the Giants' 1993 season is down to their final 3 outs. As soon as this game is completed, NFL primetime, the injuries to Montana and Cunningham, the quarterbacks, are out, and the Eagles-Jets. Eric Allen has had a 95-yard TD on an interception. You'll see the highlights on all the National Football League games. Berman, Robertson, Jackson. Rafael Barnacle has stayed in the game at 2nd base. Reed. And Lenny Harris is on to 3rd base. Tim Wallach out. Piazza is going to come out of the game.
And nice way to do it by Tommy Lasorda. And like they do in basketball, let him take the floor and then send the replacement out.
He ends with a 318 average, 35 home runs, and 112 RBIs. And the Dodgers have another blue hero for years to come, Mike Piazza. Kevin Gross will try and complete it with Carlos Hernandez, his new battery mate. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, a run on 6 hits off Gross for the Giants. The only run scored in the 5th inning on a ground ball out by Lewis that scored Clayton, who had led the inning off with a single. Only twice have the Giants been able to get the leadoff man on base in this game. Williams a single in the 4th inning, fouls that one off. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Matt Williams.
Well, Kevin Gross has been the star of this whole show almost, except for what Piazza's done at the plate, but shutting down the Giants for the first 4 innings were really important. I think that gave the Dodgers obviously a chance to take the lead, and they've never lost it. So just a well-pitched ball game by Kevin Gross.
balls and 1 strike, and Bill Swift came to the ballpark hoping tomorrow he would pitch. Bill Clark. How could we win 103 games and finish second? Down to third. Eddie Harris. Long throw. 1 out.
And I guess to surmise the whole situation, Gary, Dusty Baker had to go with a rookie in the final game of the season. So in the end, the starting pitching caught up with him. I think that's really what happened. The lack of 5 quality starters, 4 quality starters like the Braves have, finally caught up with him on the last day of the season.
Torres worked 3 1/3, 3 runs, 5 hits off him. He walked 5, though. Struck out only 1. Bonds was struck out twice in this game. He is 0 for 3. The MVP of 90 and 92, and maybe 1 more MVP to add this season. Back-to-back MVP winners. Murphy, Schmidt, Banks, Joe Morgan. Center field. Butler. There are 2 down. And in Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves and their fans are still at Fulton County Stadium. And 1 out left, and they will have their 3rd consecutive National League Western Division championship.
They look like they're ready to celebrate, Gary. They're dressed for a celebration.
And 0 for 4 for Bonds. Giant down to their final out. The Dodger fans standing down the left field line. Martinez fly ball. This season is over. The Atlanta Braves win it as the Dodgers take the final game 12-1 against the Giants. For Joe Morgan and all of our crew, this is Gary Thorne. For all of our ESPN baseball people, thank you very much. Chris Berman, all yours.